Jepson's Malort. Is that what
Yes,
you're talking
yeah,
about?
that's
Okay.
exactly what it is. It's like it says, oh well, it has the I think on the bottle what it says is like it's known for its unusual botanical flavor, and it basically just takes like tastes like you're doing shots of like Campari, essentially.
Okay.
People really don't like it. I don't mind it very much, but they
Wait, hold on,
also
really quick. This is how the AI Google description describes Jepson's Malort. It's a famously bitter wormwood-based liqueur from Chicago, known as a rite of passage for its harsh, unique flavor, often described as citrus-like gasoline or burnt vinyl.
yeah, yeah, and you know what? I kind of like that, honestly. I drink normal gasoline, so that just makes perfect sense to me. This one's more palatable than that. But it is you would imagine that it is basically what results from that scene in the lighthouse where they mix honey with kerosene.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah, yeah.
kind of like that. But so apparently the
Did
traditional
you howl at the
Chicago,
moon afterwards?
the monkey pump. Yeah, the traditional Chicago handshake that we were trying to do in honor of St. Patrick's Day is that plus an old style beer, which is just their version of Natty Boh. But
Okay.
basically, he just brought a box of PBR. So now I'm sitting here drinking PBR with Godzilla on the can, and like I
Pretty
honestly,
cool.
it's pretty fucking sick. You know, like
Well,
it
tie back
didn't.
into our Riddick stream. Godzilla came up during that as well because we were talking. Oh, or was that the Miracle stream? Either way,
I think it
it
was
came up.
Miracle. Yeah,
Yeah, that
because
makes
of the
more sense.
hockey mask. Yeah.
I was trying to do a segue, it didn't work, but I wanted to segue into Trayvon Washington's question, starting off the bat with a great question. Thank you very much, Trayvon. I'm only interested in the most important question about this movie. Could Mary Poppins take Riddick in a fair fight?
I don't know what a fair fight looks like between these two characters because on the one hand, the script always favors Riddick, but Mary Poppins is essentially a godlike being with
She's a
a
good witch.
yeah.
She's a witch, but good. She's got magical powers. I think, if we're taking away any of her abilities or tools, like the carpet bag, for example, or the umbrella, then that we're kind of undermining who she is as a character. So I think, in a giant open field, a la Deadpool and Wolverine, or The Flash, or Avengers Endgame, they're just in a big generic brown landscape. You have Mary Poppins with her usual tools, and you have Riddick with what? His goggles? Does he have like special weapons he usually has?
He's just really really good with some knives. The only thing like Mary Poppins literally like creates a gust of wind that blows like 15 women into outer space. Like
Yeah, so I
I don't
guess,
know that Riddick can account for this, you know, like
well, you mentioned it, and so did Kevo just now, that no one can beat Riddick because no one can beat Riddick. Well, see, here's the thing. Is this a Riddick movie?
yeah,
Or is this like
is
a,
so here's where we tie it back in. You know how in King Kong versus Godzilla, there's like the original one, King Kong somehow manages to beat Godzilla, and it's maybe my first like memorable experience with true championship heartbreak is watching my team,
yeah,
the guy.
that's an outrage
Yeah,
that they
like
would ever give
it
it to
is an
King Kong.
outrage, and like I seem to remember. I don't know if this is true. I should look into this, but that there is an American version where King Kong wins and a Japanese version where Godzilla wins. So like, do we do this like in that way? Mary Poppins versus Riddick in the American version and the British version. The British version, obviously, Mary Poppins comes out on top. In the
Well,
American version, I think
do the
maybe.
Brits even like this movie? That's another
Well,
question.
they should. It's the most biblically accurate depiction of an English accent I've ever seen.
I think I'm thinking about this more like Freddy versus Jason. Have you seen this?
I have seen that. We went to see that with my grandfather, and he walked out of the theater once. I don't know how we
But
convinced him to go to that in the
but that's
first place.
honestly, like, for what it is, a near perfect movie. Like, Freddy versus Jason is as good as that kind of movie can get, as far as I'm concerned. Well, no, I mean, hypothetically, it could get better, but it's the best example of the like crossover versus movie. And honestly, it does a pretty good job because the movie knows that there will be Freddy fans and Jason fans. And so it's like, okay, they're going to fight a number of times throughout the movie. We're not going to do Batman versus Superman bullshit. They're going to fight a lot. But ultimately, it's kind of like almost a perfect tie. You know, they go like really far to make them very evenly matched. You know,
Yeah,
especially when we
they give
bring
it a
Freddy
good.
out
It's
of
a
the.
good game. Yeah, like you
Yeah,
want
oh,
like
it's a
if
great game.
when you want to see like it's like Canada versus the U.S. Like you don't want to see one side blow the other out. You want a
Yes.
one goal game headed into overtime. Like yeah,
Absolutely. And
that's
that's
what
what
you
we
want.
want. That's what we want with Mary Poppins and Riddick, obviously. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
This is the Canada versus U.S. hockey game of cinema. I think is, but we're saying, yeah, and none of this like Mary Poppins X Riddick, the new Empire shit, where they're actually working together, to take down. No, I don't want to see that. I want an actual cage match, and I want it to be good. I think that's what we need. That's what the West needs to heal.
I'm gonna have to give it to Riddick because he's the ultimate Gary Stu, and he can't be beaten by a woman. That's just not possible in any movie that he appears in.
Yeah, well, contractually, I think he cannot lose to
Legally,
Mary
yeah.
Poppins
We'd be in
legally.
deep, deep legal doo-doo if we let that happen. So I think Mary Poppins would go, all right, you win this time, Riddick, and then fly away. So I
Yeah,
think that's probably how you do it. I think you don't kill Mary Poppins, obviously. She's too nice.
no, it's not possible. It's literally not
She
possible.
she is immortal.
Yeah,
But she says, "You know what? You've got a lot of spunk, Riddick. I'm gonna get out
I
of
think
here."
this world's in good hands, Riddick. And then she returns for the crossover with Fast and Furious.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So hello there, chat. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're having a good Sunday. Yeah, you started talking the stream. You started talking about the Chicago handshake. I also have plans for St. Patty's Day later today. We're gonna have a little dinner party over. We're gonna do the works for shepherd's pie, cabbage, soda bread, the whole nine yards. It's gonna be great. I'm not currently drinking, but I'm gonna have a lot of Guinnesses later, and I'm looking forward to that. Um,
Oh yeah.
Also, we're going to not watch the Oscars because
Yeah. Fuck
fuck
that.
the
No, fuck
Oscars.
that.
Fuck that. People are
There.
still mad at me for being right about Sinners on Twitter.
Oh well.
So it goes.
Good. Good. I think that's what we want to hear.
I think it's pretty much down to Sinners in one battle after another. And as I said on Twitter, a la AVP, whoever wins, we lose. I think that's just the only way to say it, really. I'm not looking forward to finding out who won. That I certainly will not be watching because like, oh, fuck that. The only thing that would make me regret watching the Oscars live is if somehow they invited the Tourette's guy from the BAFTAs back and we
Oh
got a
yeah, yeah,
repeat.
yeah.
We got-
That would
That
be
would
that would be
that would be
incredible.
like must see television.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
unfortunately,
There's
I don't
that
think.
old episode of Family Guy where like he doesn't get to watch the Emmys, and they then he finds out on the news the next morning that David Hyde Pierce accidentally exposed his cock to the entire. That's what it would feel like. Is like,
Yeah.
whoops, oh, I missed a moment, like a critical moment in
Yeah,
television history.
I remember back in the day I was watching the Super Bowl where Janet Jackson's boob came out and
Oh yeah,
I missed it. It was
yeah,
a blink and you missed it sort of thing. I was not looking at the TV at the time and it was early days so it wasn't easy to find. And I was just like, "Damn, I missed out. Everyone else saw it." And here I am
yeah,
with major FOMO. Anyway,
yeah. Well, we instead will be chatting a little bit about Mary Poppins. Uh,
yes, indeed we will.
Yeah, there are better
Because
boobs than Janet Jackson's. You are correct. Yes.
that's true. I didn't say it was the best one, but I'm just saying it was a water cooler moment and I missed it,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, like if Conan O'Brien was doing his job properly, what he would do is have Trey Parker and Matt Stone show up dressed as Randy Marsh from the Wheel of Fortune episode, just to do the bit when Michael B. Jordan walks up on stage to accept the Best Picture award for Sinners.
That would be pretty funny. Who is hosting the
Conan
Oscars?
O'Brien.
Oh, is it Conan?
It's
Oh,
Conan.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do like him, but I'm still not going to watch it. Yeah, let's talk about Mary Poppins instead. For those who are new, This is a continuation of the 2D animated Disney arc. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mary Poppins is not a fully 2D animated film. Why are you
It's
covering it
hardly
in your?
even it's hardly even animated. Like there's one section in
There's
the
a
middle.
it's a long sequence though,
It is a lengthy sequence.
but it's not most of
It's
the movie by
not.
any
Yeah,
means.
it's not.
Not even
It
half.
is very visually impressive though. I can't
Oh,
wait to
it's
talk
incredible.
about
We'll
that.
talk all about it. So you might be wondering why it's being included in the 2D animated Disney arc. Well, it's because we included Song of the South. Neither of us knew that that was a half live action, half animated movie before we watched it. We just knew that it was a little bit controversial, so we wanted to check it out. And then we watched it. We're like, oh, this is mostly not animated, but still a pretty good movie and it's worth checking
Yes.
out. So because we did that, we are also talking about Mary Poppins,
Yeah,
which
and
is fine.
one of the other reasons why I wanted to include Mary Poppins in this project is because you can find this if you go to the Wikipedia article for Mary Poppins. Um, Disney references this as their first fully produced live action feature, which
That's a lie.
is a
You're
lie.
lying.
As we know from this this series, Song of the South was the first. Mary
Hmm.
Poppins is just the first one that they are proud of. Um, it's the first one
What a
that
shame. What
didn't
a
get
shame because
them.
they should if you've never seen Song of the South, you should go look it up and watch it. It is a good movie. They should be proud of it. And yes, I saw someone ask in the chat, Dick Van Dyke is still alive. Yes, he
Yes,
is.
he
He is
is,
a
and he
hundred
is
years
100 years
young.
old, and he looks fucking great.
For 100? Yeah.
He can
I
still
mean, apparently he
walk.
dances all the time,
Yeah,
so that's a good hey, it's a good lesson there. If you want to live to 100 and still be kind of like nimble and energetic, dance.
yeah.
Do a lot of
Learn to
dancing.
dance.
Learn to dance, yeah. Dick Van Dyke, legend, best British accent of all time.
Yes,
Arguably, I think there's an argument to be had there.
I don't even think it's an argument. I think it is the most accurate, like in my experience, the most accurate rendition of an Englishman I've ever encountered in my life. I did want to talk about that very briefly, actually, because as you might have guessed, we are speaking ironically here. It is frequently included on the list of worst film accents ever. I would have guessed that a UK publication would have put this above all, way above the rest at number one. But as it turns out, back in 2003, so they had a good amount of time between this movie, 1964 2003, to, consolidate this list. This ranked number two of worst accents put to film by Empire
Okay, so
magazine.
now I
Yes,
have to guess.
I want you to guess what number
I
one
see.
was. Now,
Okay, this was published in 2003,
this is published
right?
in 2003, so and it's worst film accents. So I'll give you a couple of like freebies here. Daniel Craig from Knives Out not included, but
He should be.
it should be.
he should, he should be. I don't know about number one, but he should be on the list. So, okay, so this isn't necessary. This is a British publication, but it's not necessarily a bad British accent.
Yes, not necessarily, but it is the top 10 worst movie accents in
Okay, so a
history.
couple other contenders are already being mentioned in chat. I was going to say some of them as well. Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula, that's a contender. It's
Mm,
awful.
it
And
sure
then
is.
Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, also pretty bad. Mostly because he's really not doing one.
Yeah, the Kevin
You
Costner,
know,
yes.
Kevin Costner in Robin Hood is like barely even trying to do a British accent. So for my money, that wouldn't be worse than Dick Van Dyke's like obvious attempt to do a Cockney accent that utterly fails. Um, hmm.
Well, okay, so I'll give you
Hold on.
okay.
Okay, give me another clue. I was about ready to guess, but
Oh, well,
if
go
you
ahead. Go for it. Guess. Give me a guess.
um,
There's some very good ones in the chat.
what are some other ones? Jodie Foster and Silence of the Lambs. Was their accent that bad?
I don't know if her accent's that. I wouldn't say it's that bad,
I don't
honestly.
think
That one,
so.
yeah, that one's not distracting to me.
No, it's not distracting to me. Winona Ryder and Dracula also really bad. I don't know that she's nearly as bad as Keanu Reeves. She's not great, but
If we were
like
gonna go with Winona Ryder in anything, I might say Age of Innocence. Um,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
that's pretty fucking god awful.
John Wayne Genghis Khan. That's now we're fucking
Yeah,
talking.
now we're cooking with gas.
Now we're cooking with gas. Um, you know what? I'm just gonna go Keanu Reeves and Bram Stoker's Dracula. It really is that bad. I don't know that it's number one, but that's my guess.
It's not even top 5 on
What?
this list. Yeah, it is number 6. I'll give you that.
Okay.
It's number 6
Okay.
in the top 10, but it's not even number 5, which is insulting to Keanu Reeves in that.
Frankly, it is. I'm inclined to think now that number one is going to be something outrageous that doesn't deserve to be there at all. Am I right?
I would say so.
Okay.
It
What would be?
shocks me that this is the one they chose.
Okay, I'm gonna pick the most ridiculous one ever, and I think maybe a really dumb British publication might throw shade at Elijah Wood in The Lord of the Rings.
No, actually.
Okay, good, because his accent's fine.
Yeah.
But okay, it was just a
Uh,
shot in the dark. All right, why don't you tell me? I'm not gonna guess
well,
it.
okay, so it is, and this is funny because of course somebody in the chat got the actor, but did not get the role. So it is Sean Connery. They ranked Sean Connery for number 1. Now, as an Egyptian Spaniard, a Spaniard by way of Egypt in Highlander, I'm a Spaniard by way of Egypt. Like that's not the one that ranked him. It's the Untouchables.
I don't remember that super well.
Sean Connery as like as a beat cop in the Untouchables, basically just doing a Sean Connery voice.
Um,
It apparently outranks Dick Van Dyke by 1 on this list.
that's very silly. I think that's very silly.
Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, not even on the list. Not even in the top 10. Unreal. My mom.
Read quickly through the top 10, would
All right.
you? Now I'm curious.
Number 10 is Meryl Streep in Out of Africa. Which,
I haven't seen
yeah,
that,
that
so
one, that
no
also
comment.
makes sense. That's pretty fucking terrible. Pete Postlethwaite in The Usual Suspects. I don't remember that. I think
I don't remember
he's
that.
playing a Japanese guy, so that would make sense.
Oh, what about is it Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's? Is that on there?
It's not. No, actually,
What?
no. Number 8 is
What?
Laurence Olivier in The Jazz Singer from 1980.
What was he doing in that? Was he doing jive or something?
No, he was doing Jew.
Oh.
Yeah, end of peer Jewish accent in the 1980 remake of The Jazz Singer is enough to earn Laurence Olivier number 8 on this.
Okay. I didn't know there was a remake of The Jazz Singer. I also didn't think he was that old to be in the original. So, okay.
Yeah, interesting. Julia Roberts in Mary Riley, not Mark Riley, in Mary Riley, 1996, apparently. I wonder if that's an English accent, because I would believe that. That's number 7. Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula, number 6. Heather Graham as a prostitute in From Hell, the Jack the Ripper Alan Moore movie.
Okay.
Charlton Heston in A Touch of Evil, 1958. Brad Pitt, 7 Years in Tibet. And then Dick Van Dyke, Mary Poppins, Sean Connery, The Untouchables.
What an odd list.
It's a
I feel
very
like
strange list.
There's some real bangers that they didn't even include. How strange.
No Drew Barrymore in that one Cinderella movie where she's supposed to be English. Like, none of that. Again, Winona Ryder, not even placing, not even in the top 10. Keanu out of top 5. It's
crazy.
It's a crazy list. You Brits.
I know where the bastard sleeps. That's a fun one. Anyway, Dick Van Dyke. I can obviously see why he was chosen for Mary Poppins because he's incredible. He's very funny. He's very charming. He's very energetic. He's a fun dancer. His accent is bad, and it is kind of hard to listen to.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
The movie survives regardless.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Mary Poppins a little bit. We'll talk about the animation, but we'll talk about all of it. I guess without further ado, Hugh, what do you think of Mary Poppins overall?
I quite enjoy this movie. I think it's a lovely little musical. There's a lot of great jokes that I did not remember. Though I think the last time I watched this was when I was a wee lad, I would say. very young. So a lot of the suicide jokes from later in the movie kind of went straight over my head as a kid.
Oh, but the jumping off the bridge,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a great spot because she's been scouting it out. Um, I think it's in. I mean, Julie Andrews. How can you not just whenever she's on screen and
I'm going to
sing like
interrupt you to chime in and agree that Julie Andrews is probably the greatest of all time as far as like musical actors and performers.
yeah,
She's fucking incredible. I love her.
yeah,
Right? She has one of the best voices in like movie musical history. She's unbelievably charming and charismatic. This was her first feature
it
film
was.
role.
And they originally didn't even want her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's insane. So a little tidbit because it is Oscars Sunday. Fun little drama with this movie is that Julie Andrews won for Best Actress in this film. Uh, around this same year, My Fair Lady with Audrey Hepburn came out. Now, My Fair Lady, Julie Andrews was starring in on Broadway, and when they made the movie, Julie Andrews thought maybe she could get that role, and then she didn't get the role, and it went to Aubrey Hepburn instead, who had her voice replaced by I think it was Marnie Nixon.
yeah.
Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. Uh, so she didn't get My Fair Lady, and then she got Mary Poppins instead, and then My Fair Lady swept a lot of the big awards at the Oscars, but Audrey Hepburn wasn't even nominated for Best Actress. And instead it went to Julie Andrews. So there's a bit of a rivalry, bit of a tension between those two surrounding these two movies, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah. Julie Andrews versus Audrey Hepburn. Who wins in that fight? You know,
Well, if it has anything to do with musical theater and
obviously. Oh,
musicals,
Julie
it's
Andrews, like
obviously
it's a
Julia.
sweep.
I do
Yeah,
really like Audrey Hepburn, though. I think she's a great actress, and I
yeah,
think she's good in My Fair Lady. Um, but she's just no Julie Andrews. I'm sorry to say, and I just can't believe this is Julie Andrews' first feature film. I mean,
yeah,
obviously she was on Broadway, but like this is incredible. She's incredible in this movie.
yeah. And I like it reminded me why I like Sound of Music so much too, because it's a very similar character, right? Like
It's a very similar
or
story, yeah.
yeah, maybe not character, right? But like it's a similar like trajectory, and it just fits her so well. It came out 1 year after this, so immediate
Yeah.
takeoff. Just wonderful. Love that story for her. This is as good a place as any to mention that this movie I was not aware until doing the background research for this has a very similar thread to The Shining. In that the author of the Mary Poppins books fucking hates this movie or hated this movie. And legitimately, the only reason that there had never been a sequel until Mary Poppins Returns was because the author hated this movie so much that she deliberately took the rights away from Disney after they made it. Uh,
Interesting. Do
thought
you
that
know
both
why she hated it?
I do know why. I did not read any of the Mary Poppins books because I could not be fucked to do that. I do not care. But as far as much like The Shining, as far as I'm concerned, this is the only version of Mary Poppins that I need to see. However, the reason that this woman hated this movie, number one, she thought Dick Van Dyke and Julie Andrews were both incredibly so beyond wrong for the roles that she actively like campaigned to Disney to get them replaced. But
Okay.
she believed that the movie softens the quote unquote harsher aspects of Mary Poppins' character too much. It makes her, too charming and too noble and wise. I guess what we really need
Is she
to
more stern towards the children? Is that
I
the idea?
now that I couldn't tell you. Maybe somebody in the chat has read these books, but I'm not really sure. I think clearly what we need to settle this debate once and for all is a gritty Tim Burton remake of Mary Poppins that sticks more closely to the source material.
Oh Lord. Please God, no. Please.
She hated the music.
Oh,
She
but the music is like the best part.
she thought the original songs were terrible, and what
No.
she wanted
No.
Edwardian standards to be like Edwardian era standards to be the entire soundtrack of the film.
Okay. Well, listen, I have my criticisms of the story of this movie. We will talk about those, but the music and the visual effects are the best part of the movie. I just it's not even a question. The songs are really unbelievably catchy. The music is really nice. The performances are pretty damn solid. I mean, Dick Van Dyke isn't the best singer, but he's a fun dancer.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the best. I don't know.
And
I
like
disagree.
Chim
Disagree.
Chimney is a fucking banger, dude. Like he may not be the best singer, but that song slaps.
Yeah, well, like they're great tunes. They're very catchy. It does all the things you want a great musical to do musically in terms of reincorporating themes and including all the major themes in the overture and blah 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 blah. I think it's a really stellar musical.
Yeah.
That's like one of the best things about it. I think the story is the weakest part. So if the author of the original books didn't like some of the themes and messages of the implied story, what little there is in this movie, I think I could get on board with that actually. But I don't know, the whimsical lark that this movie is, that's the most charming bit. That's what's so
Yeah.
good about it.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I think the dancing, the singing, the matte paintings, the set design, it's all just it's a very charming and like you said whimsical kind of thing. And I wouldn't be surprised given some of the way that like for example Roald Dahl's books are, right? Like I do think like if you read those books, they are a little bit more conducive to like a Tim Burton kind of dark, edgy style. They have a little bit of a dark humor to them, and maybe a little bit more of a horror element in you could like a childish horror element. Some of Roald Dahl's books, especially if you read and look at the illustrated editions of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There's like the Tim Burton adapted that in his version very accurately to some of those illustrations. I don't know that everything needs to be that way, and I think that the English tends to have that in most. Harry Potter is a little bit like that too. It has a little bit more of that element in the book as opposed to those first two movies. They try to incorporate it more later, right? But like there is
Yeah.
that sort of darkness in a lot of British children's literature that I think doesn't get translated when it comes, especially given
For
Disney's,
this
yeah,
movie,
especially for this
certainly
movie,
not.
or like given the Disney influence on the way that things like that got adapted, right? Like you can
Sure.
kind of feel the influence of stuff like this on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate
Oh,
Factory.
I was absolutely gonna say that Willy Wonka is like 100% downstream from this movie.
Yeah,
Like there's so much inspiration from Mary Poppins being taken in the 70s Willy Wonka movie. Really good.
yeah.
I it's I'm really glad they went that route, you know. So really quick, because I don't know if it'll come up again. There's also quite a bit of moments in this movie that makes me think, oh, I think David Lynch loved this movie. There's a couple little things. It's on screen right now for me. The little fake robin that she's holding in her hand. My girlfriend reminded me that there is a fake robin that looks almost exactly like that in Blue Velvet.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And when she said that, I'm like, it wasn't a fake Robin though. She's like, yes, it was. And then she showed me. I'm like, oh, it's like almost identical. The little fake Robin holding a bug in its mouth
That's funny.
at the very end. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he really loved this movie. I mean, like it
Well, the
had, yeah,
chimney sweeps look like the firemen a bit, don't they?
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They are
Anyway,
yeah, I love the oh god, I love the chimney sweep sequence. It's so fun.
yeah.
Um yeah, no, so I think that a lot of the reason is because it's very much more optimistic and cheerful
Yeah.
and whimsical.
And silly and whimsical and lighthearted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And I think, you know, I can see, okay, because we'll get to some of the criticisms I have of the story, but I think this is mostly enjoyed as just a wacky, wild, fun musical romp. I think the story leaves a lot to be desired in terms of like there's some attempt at doing a message, a theme in this
Yeah, there is
movie.
there is something. I wasn't quite sure what it was getting at, but
Yeah, it's a little we could call it confused or thin to say the least. I think maybe if you're trying to make out what the real message of the movie is, there might be some things to take objection with, but it's a fun, wild romp. It is I think it's a little too long
I
personally.
I think so too. It's
Yeah,
almost 2.5 hours. That's eh,
there are some sequences that just go on a bit long and where nothing especially new is happening and it's like, okay, this is overstaying its welcome a little bit, but
yeah. Well, one of them,
beautiful movie, great performances, really great songs. Julie Andrews is the goat.
yeah.
What's not to love?
Yeah, and so one of the sequences, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this, that I felt went on just a little long, is ironically one of the most influential and a revolutionary sequences in the movie, which is the animated one. Author hated it, by the way. Hated the use of
Mm.
animation so much that that was the primary reason why she decided to not allow them to do any more Mary Poppins movies. She like gave sold the rights to Disney after being badgered for a while, and then literally like couldn't obviously Disney built his name on animation. Um, I somehow went to him and basically was like, the one thing you better not fucking do with this, Walt, you better not put animation in this movie. What do you expect him to do? Like, it's this is the
And that
guy.
stuff is really fun. It
Yeah,
goes on a little long,
it is.
but it's
It
really
is a
fun.
little lengthy, but there's really good stuff in it, and tech from a technical perspective, absolutely revolutionary. That
Oh
yeah,
yeah. So it's worth mentioning. So the incorporation of live action and animation isn't this isn't the first time we've ever seen it. Like I think one of the first things that comes to mind for me is when Gene Kelly dances with Jerry from Tom and Jerry in Anchors Away in
yeah,
1945. The scene that Family Guy parodied at one point with Stewie.
yes,
um, so we've seen this before, but this is to date in 1964 obviously the best it has ever been. It looks
yeah,
incredible.
it's unbelievable.
And we'll talk a little bit more later about technically how they achieved that because it's actually, it was incredibly innovative. It's probably the best incorporation of animation and live action elements until maybe Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think
Also
maybe
by Disney, also on the list at the moment.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, because I think that movie, I mean, we have to include it now, right?
yeah.
Because
Oh,
we're
yeah,
talking about these other ones. But I just think until that movie comes along, this is like the gold standard. I mean, it still is really, really impressive.
yeah. And not even
It
just
is
that,
kind
but
of
like
like
the
the whole
prac.
thing is a little bit like a visual effects showcase. So not just the sort of like or it's not green screen. We'll talk about it, but it's not just that sort of stuff. But also like the use of matte paintings, the use of miniatures, the use of like overlays, and like every visual effects technique that was available to them in the 1960s is in this movie, and it looks really really good. There's
Yeah,
sped up and reversed footage. There's things that are keyed out. There's everything.
yeah. They are really doing an incredible job with this one.
Mhm.
It pulled out all the stops. And it was, I think, it was one of the biggest financial successes in Disney's career, if I remember right. Let me double check that, but I mean, it's up there for sure. Uh, yeah, yeah, huge. Massive financial success. So it was made on a budget of about 4.4 to 6 million, and it raked in 103 at the box
Holy
office.
crap! Good for them.
Yes.
Good for them.
Yep. Unreal. During its entire lifetime, but that's a good
Yeah, so there's
amount.
gonna be some
Yeah.
re-releases in there, but that's quite the success. Yeah, so just to round out the overall thoughts, um, I think this is a perfectly fun and enjoyable movie. I think the story leaves something to be desired, and we'll talk all about that. But as a musical, I love it. As a visual effects showcase, it's incredible. It's beautiful. It's colorful. It's light. There's some great performances. I'm quite fond of Mr. Banks. His performance is incredible in this movie. I think he's very, very underrated in this. um, Yeah, there's just so much to like about it. It's hard not to be charmed by it, even if the story's a little like, it's fine.
Yeah. So
So,
what is the story of Mary Poppins, Jamie? What what are what how does how does it
in a
begin and where does it
nutshell,
go?
in a nutshell, we are dealing with a family in Edwardian England, um, with a father who works for the bank and is busy and a workaholic and doesn't spend a ton of time with his kids, and a wife who is a suffragette and because she's a bad mother also doesn't spend time with their children. And so they are cycling through nannies trying to find the perfect nanny who will, be good with the kids and not get them into trouble and all that sort of stuff. Raise them for them because they're not good parents.
Yeah.
And so eventually they well, the parents and the children create an advertisement for a new nanny for the job position, and they get Mary Poppins, who is a sort of um,
Godlike creature.
mystical creature who descends from the clouds. She's got magic powers. She can fly and has all sorts of other fun tricks up her sleeve. And she ends up being the perfect nanny, not in the way that they expect. And the movie, so they go on a series of wacky adventures, learn some things along the way? Question mark.
Question mark. Yeah.
Question mark. Ultimately, in the end, it resolves by Mary Poppins bringing um
It, it
actually, hold on. Mary Poppins eventually convinces the father to be a more involved and loving parent. And so brings the family closer together and then says, haha, my work is done. I'm leaving now. And then the movie never really addresses the mother at all. But
yes. Well,
that's one of my problems with it. So overall, we got two parents that are not very involved or good parents to their children, trying to find the perfect nanny. Eventually, the perfect nanny comes along and turns them into better parents and it sort of teaches
yeah.
the
So
kids a
it's
few
sort of
things along the
yeah.
way.
Yeah. It kind of
That's
yeah.
what they're trying to do
Yeah,
anyway.
that's the goal, right? How she achieves this is a little also, a little bit, there's an indirect sort of way of doing this. Maybe one that didn't have to be achieved by causing a potential catastrophic market crash that could
Yeah, yeah, that stuff is a little I don't know that I love that.
It's funny.
Yeah,
I'll
I
give it
mean, yeah,
that. It
like,
is
exactly.
funny.
A lot of the stuff in here is funny and fun, but I don't know if I can really take a lot of it seriously. And I don't know that compared to a lot of the Disney movies that we've covered in this arc so far, that it actually has an especially good message for the kids. There's a bit of a there's an okay, and I'm stressing okay message for the father because he's the only one that actually has something of an arc.
Yeah, the kids kind of
Vaguely
get so.
described.
Yeah, the kids kind of get so. So okay, so one of the first introductions that we get to the father. Well, the opening scene is a very lengthy bit of Dick Van Dyke as a one man band outside the park, kind of just being
Just
a
goofing off, being a
goofing off,
clown, having a good
yeah,
time.
having a good time, um, and a little fourth wall break after his
I
opening
don't love that,
performance.
by the
Yeah, I'm
way.
not a big fan of
It just
it's you. Come on in. Like I don't think I like that.
I just don't know that it works or adds a whole lot to this movie that he breaks the fourth wall sometimes, but so be it. It's fine.
Sometimes being like exclusively in the first segment of the movie because I don't think he keeps doing it later. It's
He
kind of
does
yeah.
once or twice later, but not really as much as you'd expect. They
Yeah.
don't really make it a regular device for the story.
Yeah, he's no Deadpool, obviously.
Well, thank God for that.
Yes, I am convinced he could probably kick Deadpool's ass in a fight. If we were gonna put them,
Yeah,
we
he's
were,
got the reach on him
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Those legs are gangly. That is a fact. Yeah. So he takes us to number 17, Cherry Tree Lane. After he also does seem to have an interesting sense of magic, right? So he's that character. He's sort of like the wanderer who has the sense of what when magic is at work in the world. Because in the middle of his busking, he kind of gets a note of the change in the wind, signaling that Mary Poppins is descending from on high to grace, like to fix somebody's problem. And he is, intimately connected with her, right? He's the sage who's gone out into the wilderness and connected with the spirit of nature. In this, that's his role to play.
Yeah.
So he takes us to 17 Cherry Tree Lane. First, he introduces us to a admiral who
I
I
love
love
this.
this guy, really. Like, I think this is probably because I'm American that I love him so much, but like this dude clearly did not listen to the British regulations against possession of firearms. Guy's got a cannon mounted on his full battery mounted on top of his house, and he's firing it off on the hour every hour as any true patriot should. Um, letting
And he
his
just he just sits up there like the top of his house is a ship on the sea with and like with a lookout who's like just like, watching for changes in the wind, which is a fun little magical device, obviously, but also just yelling down to people and asking them what's going on, what's new in the neighborhood, and just like keeping tabs on things in
keeping
a
tabs
really
on things, and basically
comical
like
way.
he tells Bert at this point, he's like, oh, there's a bit of nasty weather over at 17 Cherry Tree Lane, because he's heard them arguing.
Yes.
So he's also being nosy in the domestic affairs of his neighbors, which good for him. If you don't like that, come and stop him, he's got a cannon.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
Fucking love it. So that's gonna be a recurring motif throughout the movie. The
Yeah,
house,
it's a fun side
it's
gag
yeah,
for
it
sure.
is fun. The house shakes every time he fires off the cannon, on like every hour on the hour. They all get into position to make sure that none of the dishes break. It's fun. It's a good little bit. So Bert makes his way over and drops us off at 17 Cherry Tree Lane, where the nanny, the current nanny, is being fired, or quitting. Actually, she's
Fitting
quitting
more
because yeah,
accurately,
more
yeah.
accurately, yeah, she's not being fired. She's not being replaced. She's fed up with these little shits because they've run off on her again, and they're nowhere to be found. They are out on their own in
And
London
this
in
is like the fourth
1910.
time it's happened recently. I don't know if she says in a week, but
I
it's
think she does. She says it's in a week, right? So like
yeah.
these kids are we're meant to believe little hellions who are feeling rebellious.
The parents still listen to Elvis.
Exactly. They're out there running around London, getting up to no good, and she's had quite enough of it. And we get maybe one of the like ironically funnier bits in the movie when the mom comes home and makes her servants and her march around the living room like Nazis parading for feminism, while also not listening to like the one woman who has a job, like
Yeah.
trying to tell
Who
her
is trying
things
to tell her something.
about her own children. She's basically just like, "Oh, stop interrupting my polemicizing on women's rights, and do exactly what I say when I say it. You stupid bitch. Come on." Um,
Well, all right, so we're gonna plant a flag here about the mother because we're gonna have to come back to this at the end. The mother is like a feminist suffragette type who is clearly not a good mother and doesn't really spend any time with her kids. So the movie is like somewhat aware of this,
well,
but
they make a
ultimately,
couple of jokes about it too, because like she's very committed to it, but then she finds out her husband's coming home and she immediately hides all the banners. She's like, "Oh, it upsets him, so we can't be feminist in front of my husband. I have to make sure everything's ready." Which is yeah, that's the funny bit, the ironically funny bit to
yeah,
me, is that it's basically just
true.
like she is in it for the flash and pizzazz. She's not actually really committed to anything, because like she's talking about how all of the other members of her movement have been sent to jail, and they're on hunger strikes and everything, and meanwhile she's just like coming home and having a little sing in the living room, marching around the house. uh
So yeah, there are a number of jokes at her expense, but ultimately the movie doesn't really seem at all concerned with like having her learn or change at all. You know?
yeah, no,
Like
she's basically just a gag. throughout most of the
Yeah, so
movie.
like that annoys me, but it is kind of a funny gag that she's such a like, you just want the movie to do something with it and like acknowledge that like she is not a good mother and needs to change, but she doesn't. At
Yeah,
the
not
end,
really.
it's
Yeah,
just like,
it
oh,
really
now everything is
spends.
good. Everything is good because the dad is going to be a little bit more fun.
Yeah,
We did it.
he's
It's like,
reconnected with the kite flying child of his youth. So,
yeah, and that's fine and dandy and everything. But basically, I think this movie would be improved if the mom just wasn't there.
yeah,
In
yeah.
classic Disney
Actually, that's
fashion.
actually a good idea. If it's like if it's a father, a single father who's
Yes.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because
And
she
so all the feminine stuff is being pushed onto the nanny and the house,
oh,
keepers
so
and
Sound of
everything.
Music.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, basically. Well, unironically, excluding the Nazi stuff, if this movie was just the plot of The Sound of Music, it would be better.
yeah,
If it was the same dynamic, it would have improved this movie. Because like I said, we don't really reckon with the poor, parenting of the mother or do anything with it or have her change it all at the end, and then we push it all onto the father, which is kind of weird to do. If she was just not there at all, I think the story just improves. I think it just makes more sense, and it feels more like a classic Disney movie, you know?
yeah. I no, I'm with you on that one. I think I did. There was a part of me that was like, if more Sound of Music had made its way into this, I think probably
Yeah.
could have been
Yeah.
improved, but that's fine. Yeah. So she's not really like this is her song, and she's not really going to play a much of a significant role at any further point in the movie. She's kind of just
No.
there.
There.
Yeah. So
Like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example since we're gonna jump around, but at the very end, almost instead of having her like change or give up this like delusional LARP that she's doing instead of raising her children, there's like her contribution towards the end is like, oh, every good kite needs a tail, so we're gonna put my like women's lib banner at the end of your kite. And it's like, oh, that's like almost the opposite of her having to grow or change. You know what I mean?
yeah, she still gets
Like,
to be an activist while doing fuck all. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care for that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't care for that.
Yeah, but activists probably. This is like their wet. That's like their wet dream. Whoa! I can change my kid's Facebook picture with my women's thing. Perfect. We're good to go. Yeah. So okay. So the mom's not really a character. Um, she's she's here for a good laugh at the beginning. Um, but
That's really it.
yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
I love the father's song when he comes home, right? And
Yes.
he has his like regimented, orders. Like it is 6 o'clock exactly, and I cross my threshold now, and at 6:02, my sherry and my pipe are ready, and he's like, it's great to be an Englishman. I am living the life, and I'm gonna pat my children on the head and send them off to bed. And then he doesn't even realize that his kids aren't there because he's just so into the fact that he's like, I'm making money. I have a a good trophy wife. I got a nice house. He's barely ever interested in when everything, like when the cannon goes off, he never moves to like go and keep things from falling. It's everybody else's job. So he's just kind of up in his own world. He's not really connected with what's going on at home, and that's where we
Hmm.
find, this is where we find exactly where his, what his failings are, right? Is he's just a bit too business, and he's not involved at all with his family. And the movie's basically trying to say, like, what we're gonna get at is, you probably should, be more involved with your kids, instead of just being
Yeah.
obsessed with how great it is to be English pre World War I.
And to be a banker and to be
Yeah.
part of the economy and whatever. But the other thing I do really like though, to give the movie some credit, there is a scene later where Dick Van Dyke is trying to like make the case for the father to the children.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a good scene. That feels like that's nice. I don't remember the exact words, but it's something to the effect of like, well, you have to understand, because this is later in the movie when there's the threat that the dad might lose his job, right? And it's like, well, your dad is providing for you and everyone in the family. Like, you all have people, that can, like take care of you when something's like you have Mary Poppins, you have the maid or whatever, like to take care of you if something goes wrong. But like, who takes care of your dad?
Yeah.
Like he's got a lot on his shoulders. He's providing for everything. Sure, he could be a bit more, fun loving. He could be a bit more connected to, the spirit of youth, like the dad and, Peter Pan. Um, but he could be more involved in your life, but like he's got a lot on his shoulders and he doesn't really have anyone to back him up, so like we could have a bit more sympathy for
Yeah.
him. And I like that. I think it's good.
I do too. Yeah, somebody's mentioning they can talk man to man. Yeah, he's waiting for his son to be old enough to watch Ordinary People with and have a discussion about it. He's tired of talking about that movie with him and just getting nothing but a blank stare. Uh, um yeah, so this is yeah, this that I like that bit. I like that that's where we're setting it up. We're gonna have some payoff for it. That's really the payoff of the movie. How strong of a payoff it ends up being, I think, is I don't know, like
Debatable.
yeah, debatable. I think it feels rushed by the end of it.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like we've really concluded anything. It feels like he was meandering on for a while and was like, "Oh shit, we're at 2.5 hours already. Fuck."
Oh, we
And
gotta have a
we got to
theme.
we
We
got to
gotta
have
have
an
a
ending.
story
Yeah,
here.
we
Yeah.
got to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Like
That is what it feels like. It feels like what they were really intent on doing is just having fun. Like okay, so like pretty late in the movie, we do the whole big song and dance with the chimney sweeps, and it's a great song and it's a lot of fun. But at that point in the story, it's like, okay, but do are we trying to tell a story here? Because this isn't actually furthering it.
yeah,
I think a lot of people they have this, especially people who do say they don't like musicals, have this idea in their head that like, oh, I don't like musicals when the story like stops dead in its tracks for them to do, you know,
musical
just a
things. Yeah.
musical number. This is like I think that's kind of overblown as a criticism. I think a lot of musicals like the songs aren't actually advancing the story, but there is a story that's happening like surrounding the songs that there is progression that we can like allow ourselves this brief little fun diversion. At this point in Mary Poppins, we are like this is the stereotypical example of that problem. It's like are we even doing a story at this point? We're doing this
Uh,
long chimney sweep section, but we're not learning anything new. The kids aren't learning any
it's
lessons.
also the
We're
second chimney sweep section, and like the first one. Okay, so the first one, right? The chim chim chiroo section, where he's brought the kids back from their terrifying escapades downtown in Piccadilly Circus. Um, nothing much has changed there in that regard as far as London is concerned. But he's bringing them back through the park, and he's singing the song about how great it is to be a blue collar worker in 1910 London. Again, maybe debatable, but something that the kids kids could can learn from is like being happy in your work, right? Enjoying,
or just
yeah,
like having respect for the nobility of that work,
yes. And
for the dignity of it.
the dignity of the blue collar worker, right? Yeah, having respect for that, and realizing that they're not like even though they are initially frightened because they think he is a black man, they realize that some of them aren't all that bad.
Really quick, Ephraim Winslow in the chat it says, "I'll throw this out there. My favorite musical is probably Chicago. It's essentially a story of how and why evil prevails, and it works so well." I'm inclined to agree. I quite like Chicago, and I also think Chicago is probably the last great movie musical. Because man, we're in a real slump, a real drought when it comes to good movie
What are
musicals.
you talking about? Mean
Chicago's
Girls
pretty
just
fun.
came out.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. Um, Chicago, I think it was 2008, something like that. Whenever, maybe it was earlier. So it was mid 2000s. Chicago, pretty solid movie actually, and I think
Yeah.
it's it is sort of about evil characters in a way that's actually pretty compelling. Yeah, it's good. I like Chicago.
Yeah, I have never seen it, but I've heard great things, and I do want to watch it at some point.
A couple things. Topaz Dude says, "Did anyone else ever see Saving Mr. Banks, which is about how Disney had to work to get the rights to Mary Poppins?" No, I did not see that movie. And no, to the person who asked probably like half an hour ago now, I have not seen the sequel that no one ever talked about with Emily Blunt.
Oh, Mary Poppins Returns. Yeah,
Yeah, that
well,
one.
one person we know talked about that. Maya, I think she worked on that actually. So she was very impressed with it. I don't know that anybody else was really. I think it
Yeah.
was a pretty big financial disappointment. Nobody went to see. Um, it's funny. I was googling Mary Poppins sequels, and I saw. I didn't confirm this, but I saw that they look like they're making a direct to Disney Plus Mary Poppins Returns 2.
Why?
Great question because
I
they
mean,
they
like
have too
direct
much.
to video Disney sequels, those aren't exactly new. I suppose we can give them those, but I don't know who's going to be watching that one.
Well, and like to call it Mary Poppins Returns 2 is a really weird, like, yeah. It,
What would you call it? What would you call it?
I like probably just like Mary Poppins,
Again.
Mary Poppins again.
Mary Poppins pops in again.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, something like that. Like Mary, that Mary Poppins takes back London. I like for the English. I have
Mary Poppins has somehow Mary Poppins has returned. That's good. I
somehow
like
Mary
that one.
Poppins returned. Yeah, no, that's great. No, that's it.
Two Mary,
That's
two
it.
Poppins,
Get Disney
you
on the
know.
horn. Get him on the phone. That we've got a great idea for him. Yeah.
Mary Poppins cubed. That's another
Oh,
strong choice, I
yeah.
think. Go the
That's a
alien
good
route.
one. Mary Poppins
Mary Poppins.
Revolutions.
Mary Poppins Tokyo Drift. Yeah, she goes to Tokyo, and you
Ooh.
can do some fun culture shock stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, that could be. Well, yeah, and that would make sense. They'd probably
because Mary
fucking eat
Poppins
that
is
shit up.
obviously an immortal being, right? So
Oh,
she,
bro, yeah, no, she's the spirit of the English nanny. Like I think is what like is
yes.
essentially, yeah. She is the ideal spirit of the English
You know
nanny.
what? It's a weird thing to say, but honestly, I think this movie could use a good remake that it tries a little harder in the story and life lessons for kids department. That doesn't try to just recreate all the iconic visuals and moments and songs from this movie because you can't beat them. They're just too good.
Yeah.
Uh, but honestly, I would like to see. I mean, you don't have to call it Mary Poppins. It could just be a similar type story. But I would like to see a version of this that cares a little more about the like life lessons and all that sort of stuff and the themes because this movie's a little thin in that department. But obviously, I say that with caution because if I found out that they were going to do just a reboot of Mary Poppins right now, I would be like, no, God, no, please don't do that. I don't trust anyone working today to really do a good job of doing that. But hypothetically, if we had people capable of it, I would like to see that.
Oh, Ephraim Winslow has a pretty decent point. Like they'd never have the nerve to do the messaging justice. He's the new Aesop in the current year would be that the kids need to set aside their selfish desires to support mom's politics. I could see them going in this movie especially. I could see them going so hard in that direction where like obviously the mom is going to be included, but she's going to be front and center. She's not just going to be a fun joke about how she's a feminist in the streets and a housewife in the
A
sheets kind of
chauvinist
thing,
in the sheets,
a
yeah.
chauvinist in the sheets. They're going to make it that like the kids have to come to terms with the fact that their mom is doing something way more important than them. So they should just learn to deal with the fact that, in the future, this is going to be, momentously important for the human race that women are supposed to be able to vote and they should just suck it up. Um,
And Mary Poppins would be Jamaican. So just just to round it all out, I think.
Wagwan, man. A spoonful of sugar.
Oh Lord.
uh,
Yeah.
uh,
So anyway, where were we in Mary Poppins?
We were basically right at the beginning where the dad realizes that the kids aren't home, and the nanny
Right.
has quit. Um, and then the kids are brought home by. There's another great little joke where he calls the police to report his kids missing. He's like, "Oh, you better send somebody over right away." And as soon like the wife opens the door, he's like, "Oh, he's here." He's like, "Oh, remarkable service, thank you very much," and then hangs up the phone. It's like, "Oh, that's great,
Oh, he's very
good
funny. I
stuff."
like his performance and the writing for him as well. It's very charming. Yeah, and then the constable shows up and delivers the children home, and they're like, "We didn't mean to run away. Our kite flew away, and we had to go chase it." Blah blah blah, and
Yeah, and that's setting up the ending. Kites are not going to come back really until the very end of the movie. So, like, it's
all
just
you
a
kite
lot of
fans out there,
yeah. And
yeah,
there's a lot of space. So there's a lot of
there's a lot
space
of kite
between
opportunities, is
a
what
lot of
you're
space
saying.
between Chekhov's kite and the firing, if you know what I'm saying here.
Yes. Um, Oh, but they come home and the father is being rather stern with them, and the constable is trying to be like, "Look, go easy on them. They're kids. They're just chasing a kite. They weren't in any trouble. They weren't, stabbing other kids on the street,
Yeah,
or
they
anything
weren't
like
getting
that.
involved with radical Islam. Let's just
No, they were
yeah.
just chasing their kite." And he's like, "That'll be all, constable. I can handle my own household. Thank you very much." And the constable kind of like grumbles under his breath at him as he leaves, sort of thing. We're sort of establishing that the father is like very stern and very strict, but ultimately kind of not involved with them. He expects, them to be proper in every way, but like, he's not
Well,
really
yeah.
attentive to the spirit of youth that's in play that's actually super important for children, etc.
Yeah, well,
He
he's
wants them
doing
to
the
be
Von Trapp
practical.
thing, right? He's
Yeah,
running his house as if it is well, he's doing it like it's a bank. Von Trapp in Sound of Music is doing it like it's the
a
military,
military.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So he's essentially entirely about he represents the side entirely about discipline and forbearance and just like good, solid you know British society values. They are the untamed spirit of youth, and so now we got to bring that together. And by the end, basically by the end, how we're gonna do that, because he puts out an ad for a nanny, or he goes to put out an ad for a nanny that is in basically saying like you have to be a fucking drill sergeant. Like I
Yes.
want you to get these like he wants Full Metal Jacket in the nursery. Okay? Like he's not fucking around. He's like you better be ready to belt these kids at the first sign of disobedience. Let's go. The kids bring a very different advertisement down, which this is the first sort of like olive branch between their spirit and his, right? Is like they've put together a rather like diplomatic kind of document. They're basically it's a very charming little song, right? About how, look, if you're going to be nice and gentle and kind and take us on outings and play games with us, but also we if as long as you'll be a good person to us, we promise not to run off, we promise not to do nasty pranks, and we will be very good, and we'll work however you want us to do, right? Like that's sort of what they bring. And he grabs that shit and just rips it up in front of them and throws it in the fireplace.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, give us sweets, never be cross at us. What nonsense is this?
Yeah, you idiots. They know he's gonna call you fat, and she's gonna call you retarded, and that's
And
just how it's gonna be.
homosexual. Yeah, that's just as only steers and queers come from Texas, yeah. Um, and so basically we get the two versions of what a good nanny is from the adult's perspective and from the children's perspective. And then what they kind of do, but don't necessarily nail in terms of the execution throughout the movie, as far as I'm concerned, is that Mary Poppins is sort of meant to be the best of both worlds, right? Like
Yes.
that's what they're going for. I don't know if they exactly nail it all the time, but they from the very beginning. So Mary Poppins descends from the clouds. We'll get into some of the stuff in between in a moment. But when she eventually comes in, her first meeting with the children, she's like, well, they go up to the nursery and it's messy and unkempt and all that sort of stuff. And so they're like, oh, Like I see that you children want to play games, and she's like, well, the first game is going to be clean up the nursery. And they're like, that's not a
That's
game,
not a
and
game,
it's like,
you liar. What
and
kind of
and
game
she's
is that?
basically like, everything you have to do can be made into a game, and then so she makes it fun for them, and then they're really excited about doing the things that they need and ought to be doing anyway, in terms of their chores and keeping up an orderly house and everything like that. So that is kind of the best of both worlds, right? And I think this is where the movie is the strongest for me, because it's like, oh, she's doing what the dad wants in a way that he doesn't realize is actually what's going to work, right? Because he's too disconnected from the spirit of youth to understand that you need to engage them in a playful sort of way to do the things that are good for them, right?
Yeah,
And so she's the best of both worlds. And it's like, great. This is great. I want this to be essentially the whole movie where she's making them into, like, honestly, I think this movie would be slightly improved if the kids were a bit more like
rambunctious.
rebellious,
Yeah,
rambunctious and everything like that, and she helps tame them a little bit as well. Right now, they're just very normal, good kids, and it's really the dad that's the problem in a sense, and the mother, but we don't really talk about that. Um, and if it was a bit more balance between the two, that would be good. And if it was more about sort of like teaching them the lessons that the dad wants them to learn, but just in a way
in a
that
fun way that they
in a
can.
fun
Yeah,
way. Yeah.
yeah. Now that I would, well, yeah, and that's like you said, this is probably where the movie is strongest for me because after this, really, what's gonna happen is they're gonna go on a bunch of wacky misadventures. And it's gonna take a long time to like. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure what the lesson behind the chalk painting um
No, it's just
episode
fun.
really is like, yeah, it's just fun, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not really about teaching them anything, it's
Same with palling around with the chimney sweeps at the end, except for maybe teaching them the sort of
oh well,
generic dignity of the blue collar worker, whatever. But like, not really.
no, yeah, well, because that's the first one is Chim Chiru, and then it descends into just like a extra, like almost like a Singing in the Rain kind of exhausting dance number, where it's like it's a lot of energy, but they're just
Yeah.
basically like stomping around on the rooftops and doing a bunch of stunts, and it looks really cool how they're
Yeah.
doing this choreography, but it's going nowhere. Like it's
Yeah.
literally just like, hey, ba-ba-da-da-da, stepping time. We're gonna go do this stepping time, and like it just doesn't go anywhere until they get fired on by the admiral, who's afraid that pores are invading his neighborhood,
Which is
which
funny
is
and
really
fun.
funny. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
we better
But it's
get
not going
you
anywhere.
better get these peasants away from my house,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah, but you're right. It doesn't go anywhere. It's funny that you mentioned "Singing in the Rain" because I love "Singing in the Rain." I think it's the best movie musical of all time. The
yeah.
one of the better jokes in it that is like sort of what you're referencing here is that there's this whole long sequence where Gene Kelly's character is describing how the musical version of this movie is going to go, and then we sort of go into like what he's describing, and we see this big bombastic musical number that isn't really, it's one of the few in this story that isn't actually furthering anything. It's not furthering any characters or the plot or the themes or anything. It's just, isn't this a fun musical number? And then at the very end of it, when it's over, it cuts back out to him still in the room describing it to them, and he goes like, yeah, so anyway, it'd be something like that. Which is just a great little punchline at the end of that,
Yeah,
kind of almost making fun of the types of musicals
that
that
do
just go off on
exactly
tangents.
this stepping time bit, like just
Yes.
yeah, exactly. Real quick, Eric has a great joke in the chat, the original roof Korean.
Yes.
That, yeah, brilliant.
Uh,
Well done.
Muggy says, I haven't watched Mary Poppins, but have you guys watched Nanny McPhee? I have not.
I've
Have you?
never seen Nanny McPhee. No, and my girlfriend's mom did bring that up to me as like an example of what the darker version of Mary Poppins might look like.
Okay.
I don't, you can tell me if you think that's accurate or not. But I do not know. Um, yeah.
Nanny McPhee. When did that come out? Let's see.
It was 2005.
2005. Emma
Hey,
Thompson, Colin Firth. Look at you. Widower Cedric Brown hires Nanny McPhee to care for his 7 rambunctious children who have chased away all previous nannies. Taunted by Simon and his siblings, Nanny McPhee uses mystical powers to instill discipline. That does
Yeah, that
sound at least more like what we're hoping Mary Poppins would be. Maybe that's a bit more like she's a bit more comically stern and, whatever, but I think that yeah, that's sort of more the dynamic that I really want from Mary Poppins and that we only get in, like, small doses, really. Someone mentioned it earlier that, like, they chase away the other nannies through pranks and stuff like that, and it's like, I feel like we should see those a
yeah,
little bit,
yeah.
you know?
The
I
fact, like,
totally
because
agree with that.
the nanny who quits because the kids have run off on her chasing after a kite, right? They do talk about putting pepper in the nanny's tea
T
and toads
Yeah.
in her bed, and I'm like, I feel like I should see a little. Again, this is a Sound of Music thing, right? Because they do this in Sound of Music. I feel like I should see the pranks, a little
Yeah.
bit to get more of a sense of why these two kids have required super nanny to descend from the clouds. You know,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I want to see some more of like the Cartman in these kids. Is yeah,
Yes, just a little bit. We don't gotta go full sociopath, but, just a little.
yeah, just a little bit more, a little
Yeah,
bit more.
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think because essentially the spoonful of sugar scene, that's really the first time that we've got any of the like the discipline, basically framing the good thing, the things that they should be doing, like cleaning up their chores as fun, right? And then
Yes, as
af
medicine that, like, just a little bit of sugar, a little bit of playfulness, a little bit of fun turns them into something you actually want to do, and not just a boring chore.
Yeah, and so then after that, she's like, "All right, now time to go to the park." And I like the bit where the boy is like, "But I want to clean up the nursery again." It's like, yeah, say that's what I want to
Yes,
see from. That's
exactly.
exactly what I want, right? Like, yeah, great, we're on a roll so far. We're this first couple of sequences, we are cooking, right? We're cooking with gas. I love the
Oh,
scene
yeah.
too where she comes into basically she comes in to interview for the job, right? There's a whole line of them outside the house, and then she summons a gale force wind to blow them all into the English Channel, so that she's the only one who is applying for the job. um
Yes, that's fun.
yeah, that is a proper use of a sorcerer's powers like this. Makes perfect sense. And she comes in and like there's a good bit with her basically turning the interview process around on the father. Love that. She basically is just like she thinks he's gone. Frames it gaslight. She's the queen of gaslighting, really. In
Oh, yeah,
this, like, yeah,
gaslighting for good, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Well, yes, yes,
Well,
but
yes.
because
Yes, but
like yeah, because I'm not really sure what the benefits of her gaslighting the children later is going to be, right? Like,
remind me which part you're talking about?
well, so after they clean up the nursery, this is when they go to the park. They jump into the chalk painting, and we have that little is we have that quite lengthy adventure in the chalk painting of the English countryside, which we need to talk about technically in depth a little bit more. But then after they get home with that, they start talking about all the amazing things they did, and Mary Poppins is like basically kind of saying like, "You guys sound fucking crazy. Like, what are you talking
Oh,
about?" Jumped
right,
it. Yeah,
she does.
she's kind of like, "You sound crazy, and I might have to commit you. I don't I don't know about this. Like, you didn't
Yeah,
do any of that. I don't know why she did that.
I don't
Really,
know why
like,
she
yeah."
does that either, really. I don't know. I mean, like, if she was doing it as a joke, maybe, but, like,
But yeah, well,
I
like
don't
they
really
don't. I don't.
understand the
Yeah, I'm
point of
not
that.
really because I don't. Maybe I'm just not getting what the joke of that
What
is.
comes
Yeah,
but, like,
it's too
I
big
mean,
brain
like,
for
if
me.
she were doing that with a wink to the kids,
Yeah.
but she doesn't really.
No, it's not coming across as a wink. It's coming across as basically just being like, "You guys sound nuts." Like, you know
Do you
that, right?
do you even hear
Do you even
yourself
hear
right
it?
now?
Who's
You
gonna believe?
sound insane.
It's like the Bill Murray thing, like the Bill Murray, but like he ate a French fry off my plate and said no one will ever believe you. It's like that's basically what Mary Poppins is. Like Mary Poppins took me into a chalk painting in the park, and then after it finished raining, she put us to bed. And when we tried to talk about it, she said, "Yeah, well, nobody's ever gonna believe you." Okay,
Yeah.
like yeah, it's
Eric says my impression was that she didn't want them to tell others about the magic, but I don't really know if that really fits in the theme of the movie. If anything, it's like she's trying to reintroduce magic
yeah.
to children living in a world without it. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that she's pretending like the magical stuff is in their imagination, but I'm just like, but why? Because like she is bringing it to them as like that's the goal of this character
Yeah.
is to reintroduce a little bit of magic in their lives, right? And imagination. Um, so yeah, I don't know
Yeah, I don't know
that
about the
part's a little
gaslighting in that one.
that part's a little weak, I think. But
Hmm.
I can see maybe what they're getting at, right? It's just it's not. I would have liked a little more of a lean into that than just what they did. But yeah, so since this is the next episode, really, let's talk about the animated sequence in the chalk painting because
Right.
I think this is the part that the author hated, more than anything else in the movie. Um, but this bit looks incredible.
Yes.
And I didn't watch the video that you found about this, but so as
Okay.
I
So,
know, or
oh
as
yeah,
what
go
I was
ahead. Go
able
ahead.
to figure out about it is this wasn't done. So they did have traditional blue screen at this point, right? Like they did have blue screen
Yes.
technology, but they decided not to do that for this sequence, right? Or what did they used a different
So
kind of
there,
in-camera thing?
there is a great video on this subject by the guys from Corridor Crew. They talk a lot about CGI and visual effects. They're the guys who are like CG artists reacting to good and bad CGI. Like they do a lot of those kind of videos. The video is called "This Invention Made Disney Millions, but They Lost It." It's got a very clickbaity title, but it's a very good video about the process and the technology they use in this movie. So the short version, there's a full video about it that I think I highly recommend. The short version is they did something like blue screen technology for all the compositing. That is like getting the figures of Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke into the animated sequences and at other places in the movie, including when they're cleaning up in the nursery. Like there are clearly people in those shots moving things around that they have been like chroma keyed out essentially, right? So they use this throughout the movie, and basically what it is instead of blue screen or green screen, it's like a kind of like a yellow screen, specifically a very narrow band of the light spectrum created by sodium vapor lights, and then a filter put in front of the camera that can just kind of notch that tiny band of light out of the color spectrum and leave everything else, right? So, and what they do is like similar to how they used to do Technicolor. There's a beam splitter inside the camera, so recording two different images at once. Because like three strip Technicolor, like in order to get the three different strips of Technicolor, they did two one way and one the other way. So they actually had to split the image with like a prism, right?
Yeah.
And so they used the prism here to split what isn't the sodium vapor light and what is only the sodium vapor light. So you can get just the silhouette and you can get just the people. And you can use that to like composite people into animated sequences or to remove them from live action sequences in a way that is far more effective than the blue and the green screen, because like the typical things with blue and green screen that are really hard, that they've mentioned in this video and that other people have talked about. Like for example, Mary Poppins is wearing a veil like on the top of her hat. It's frilly, it's see-through. That would be a nightmare for green
Yeah.
screen and blue screen as it is traditionally used. But with this technology, you can get rid of that easily with like no problem at all. You're not going to have any of that same sort of bleed, right? Because you're layering the silhouette and only what is like left after you get rid of the sodium vapor light to composite those things together. It's a complicated, really sophisticated piece of technology that they used for this movie and really not too many movies after it. And then it was like lost or not used for a long time because I think if I remember the video correctly, they only had three of them, these prisms. They
Oh
were
wow.
very rare. They required a special person on set to make sure that they were secure and safe and weren't broken. Like they were very, this was a complicated piece of technology, right? And so basically, they had a unique proprietary way of doing compositing that is still today better and more sophisticated than blue screen and green screen. and it looks better, which is why the visual effects in 1964's Mary Poppins look a lot better than a lot
Yeah.
of composited imagery today. And I think that's really, really cool.
It is really fascinating. It also, this movie won the Oscar for best visual effects specifically because of that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
the
the visual effects in this movie are incredible. It's not just that stuff that I just described, but because they use every type of visual
yeah.
effect trick in the book in this movie.
The
It's a
wire work
it's
is
a real showcase.
unbelievably good,
Yeah, the
actually. Like
wire
it
work,
looks
like,
really great.
all the like invisible fishing lines that are tied to things in the house to like shake them around, all that sort of stuff. It's really effective. They like reverse some shots, they speed things up. They do everything. Little miniatures, little, matte paintings and overlays and everything. But this technology in particular allows for like truly, truly impressive compositing. And that's what they used primarily in these animated sequences. So that like, you know, I think they mentioned in the Quarter Crew video that like, they're wearing colors that like you wouldn't be able to wear if you were doing green screen or blue screen, obviously green and blue being the main ones, but also like
The
see-through,
lace, yeah, with
veils.
the light that comes through so that it actually looks like you can
Yes.
see the background, but it doesn't look like it's just being projected. Like, if you
Yes.
go to look at the old James Bond movies when he's driving and you can just kind of tell that, there's a projector
Yeah.
that's, like running a thing behind him. They blend in. Their shadows look like they're fit like on like when they're
It's
doing the
pretty
dance.
impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can track the shadows and it looks like they're just physically in the chalk painting animation bit. I mean, it's unbelievably good. And so like this sequence goes on for fucking ever. And it doesn't really achieve much other than
No,
showcasing this incredible
other than
technology.
being fun.
Yeah, and being
Yes.
fun. But it is really impressive what they are able to pull off
Oh
with
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do a good job with the simple basic stuff of like having them look like they're actually looking at the animated characters at the right times and everything like that. The animation style is very classic Disney, maybe like slightly less sophisticated than the animation typically looks in the fully animated films. Like it's a bit more, it's not rough, but there's just a little bit less detail to it.
Yeah.
Um, what they do a lot to save time in animation is have the animated characters just have their eyes closed. Like while they're
Yes.
singing and talking, their eyes are just closed the whole time, which is kind of funny. They do open them and you see them sometimes, but I think a lot of it they took a couple shortcuts like that. But it works. I mean, it doesn't take you out of it, but it's just kind of a fun little choice. And there's like it's on screen for me right now of Dick Van Dyke dancing with the penguins and he's got his pants slightly pulled down so he looks a bit more like a penguin. All that stuff is really, really fun. Like you said, it's not advancing the story at all. The kids aren't learning any lessons. The funniest bit about this whole sequence is that for a lot of it, the kids aren't even there. It's
Yeah, they've
just
they've so like the whole thing, the reason that their nanny has left is because they have run off to chase
yeah,
after a whim, right? And what
yes,
they do, the first thing they do as soon as they get into this chalk painting is fucking bolt off to a merry-go-round that they can't even see while Mary Poppins and Bert go on this like romantic little walk through the countryside and just
romantic
like
little
jaunt.
whim.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jaunt is a good
a
word
little
for that.
jaunt through the countryside, and they do a little dance and they sing about how much, like how perfect and incredible she is, and like then she basically talks about how he's not masculine enough to be threatening, and
That is
that is
exactly what
exactly
happened.
what happens. Is like it's kind of weird. She's just like, "Well, I feel safe with you because you're like a brother to me, Bert." And it's like he's
Yeah.
sitting here like, "Oh, I love being around you because you're just
I
so
am in love
perfect
with
and
you,
pretty,
Mary
and I'm in love
Poppins,
with
and
you,
she's
Mary
like,
Poppins."
"Oh,
She's just like,
you're nice. You're
"You're such a
nice." And
nice guy, and I don't have to worry about you at all in any because I don't think of you as a man in any way, shape, or form." It's like, oh, okay.
I mean, that is a perfect
that is
description
yeah.
of this. Yeah.
But they go
Um,
off and do that for quite a while before like then they they're on the merry-go-round and then they're riding the merry-go-round horses around and causing chaos. There's a fox hunt that takes place in, not the kids. And then there's a race that the kids are kind of in, but Mary Poppins just
Especially
like
Mary
yeah,
Poppins.
it's mostly Mary Poppins just being the best. Um,
So she's a lot like Riddick in that way, I
yeah,
suppose.
basically, yeah. I think it's in her contract that she can never lose a fight, basically.
She can never lose the horse race.
Yeah, she can
Yeah.
never lose a horse race, and at the end of every scene, somebody must acknowledge that she is just perfect in every fucking possible way. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
You know what? Speaking of, there is a pretty funny little gag when she first like pulls out a tape measure out of her like
oh, dude,
carpet bag,
that's fucking great.
and she's got the tape measure, and she measures rather the boy, and what is it? It's like what phrase does she
Extremely
use?
stubborn and
Suspicious or
yeah,
something like that?
extremely stubborn and suspicious. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the girl is like
Yeah.
inclined to giggle and
Rather inclined to giggle, doesn't put things away, and
yeah.
when they look at the tape measure, instead of having a number, it says those words, and then when she measures herself and pulls it up, and she's like, "Ah, just as I suspected. Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way." Like, it's a fun little
Yeah.
gag, for sure.
It's literally
But
Riddick's tape measure. I don't know where she got it, but
and so, but at the end of this chalk drawing animated sequence, it's like, "Okay, well, what did we accomplish?" It's like, "I don't know."
yeah, I'm
It was
not
fun to look at, and the songs were catchy, and the dancing was fun too.
yeah.
It was quite the lark. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Nothing really happened.
supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what we learned.
that's what we learned. Just say that word whenever you don't know what to say. And people will definitely not drag you off to a mental hospital.
Yeah, and this is where the movie is like, "Okay, I know we're having fun here, but I would like more story, please," and,
Yeah.
eventually we get some.
Eventually,
Um
so like the first thing after this, right, is like so the rain ruins the chalk painting and it melts from around them. Now they're stuck and they have to go home, right? So she gives the
Yes.
kids some medicine because people who get their feet wet have to take NyQuil. I guess I'm not.
Listen, it's the British Isles, they're gonna catch a cold if they don't take the medicine, alright?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah.
They got
Yeah.
a
That
little
makes sense.
wet.
And so and it's a fun. This is another fun little visual thing, right? She pours it into Michael's, and it comes out as cherry flavor, and then she pours it into the girl's. I can't remember her name. Susan.
Who
Who
cares?
cares? She pours it into her spoon, and it comes out as creme de menthe. And then she pours it into her own spoon, and it's just a belt of rum. And it's like,
It's
oh,
rum punch,
yeah,
she
yeah,
says,
yeah,
yeah.
rum punch. It's just a belt of rum. So it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, I like this. It's a liquor that,
Fun gag.
fun gag. It's a liquor that turns into whatever you're drinking, right? I love it. Good on you, Mary Poppins. This is when she gaslights them a little bit into basically believing that magic is not, that was all in their head. They didn't do any of it really. So, like, you sound fucking crazy, you idiots. And then like she sings them to sleep. I like this too, right, where she kind of, this is kind of emblematic of her character, right? Because they're like refusing to go to sleep, and she's like,
They're
okay,
all riled up,
yeah.
they've had such an exciting day, they can't relax and go to sleep.
And her lullaby solution is basically to just say like, okay, then don't close your eyes and stay awake as long as you want. Don't think about how great it's going to be to fall asleep and wake up perfectly refreshed. Just don't even think, don't even worry about it. Turn on and I like the reverse psychology because she does this a
Yes.
lot, right? That's great. um the
And she
next
sings and like, well, the challenge is like, "Okay, fine, don't go to sleep then. I'm just gonna sing you a little lullaby," and then she sings a very slow, very sleepy, very peaceful, lovely little tune, and then they just can't help but fall asleep,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
good. I like it.
yeah,
Julie Andrews got an angelic voice. It's great. It's good stuff.
yeah. And the next sequence is when they visit the guy who can't stop laughing, right? Like that
Yeah, what's
yeah.
the point of that shit?
I, because
I mean, I enjoy it. It's funny. It's got the guy who voices Mad
Mad
Hatter.
Hatter, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah, it's
it's funny.
long. It's
It's
long.
long.
Um,
I don't know what we learn.
yeah, because okay, so like they are out to do some errands, and then the dog runs up. Like the dog, whose dog is this? I can't
That's
remember.
their dog,
Is it their
isn't it?
dog? Because he
I think
doesn't
it's their
live with
dog.
them. He lives
Well,
like
he's an outside dog. He roams around. I don't know. I thought it was their dog. Maybe it's just the the village's dog. It just roams
yeah,
around.
maybe
I
yeah.
thought it was theirs though.
I
I could
well,
have sworn it
I
was.
think we meet the dog at the beginning, and it's with a different woman, right? Like it's
Oh,
with
well, maybe
yeah.
not then.
I
Okay.
I I don't remember.
Dog's name is Andrew. I remember that.
Yes, yeah. So Andrew
I don't
comes.
remember the girl's name, but I remember the dog.
Yeah, Andrew shows up to tell Mary Poppins, like Lassie, that somebody has done the opposite of falling down a well, and so she needs to come quick. So she.
First of all, this is clearly the inspiration for Baxter and Anchorman, right?
Oh yeah, it's got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost the same type of
it looks
dog.
exactly the same.
We talk to it like at one point it like sneezes and she says bless you and then it keeps talking, keeps barking and but she can understand it. It's very much to like what? Baxter, I didn't I don't speak Spanish in English, please. It's the same guy.
Yes, yeah, it's great. I do like that, right? But they go to meet Uncle Albert, who he likes to laugh, and
Yeah.
that means that he floats. And
Hmm.
it's a dangerous thing. The English find this to be a very dangerous predicament. If you laugh too much, um,
Yeah.
it's a yeah. But that's the like the whole the scene is essentially that they like Mary Poppins is the only one who isn't taken by fits of humor, but it's like a good thing to laugh and be light as air like that, and you have to think of sad things to come back down to earth. But like,
Can't like it's good to be, that full of laughter and everything, but you can't live like that, I
yeah, I
suppose is the,
guess
the message. But like it's not super well executed.
yeah, and like yeah, like occasionally, I guess really like if we go by her conduct in the scene of what the message is, right? She's like, okay, we can stay for one cup of tea, right? Like
Yeah, we'll have a laugh,
have a
we'll goof
laugh
off.
for long enough, one cup of tea, exactly one cup of tea's length of time, and then depress yourself and get your ass back to work. Basically, I guess is like the British messaging here. I'm not, yeah, I'm not really, I'm not really sure what the point of having. Like, it's a really
Okay.
long sequence for that.
It's a long sequence because they want to show off their floating effects and wire work
Yeah.
and have a goof.
To be
And
clear,
the
it looks
jokes,
good.
it does. No, of course, everything in this movie looks good. I think it's a great looking movie. But I feel like you'd want the message to be something a bit more like okay, this is fun. It's fun to be carried away with laughter and joy and all that sort of stuff and whimsy and whatever else. But like you do have responsibilities in the world and you can't live like this. And so like he laughs so much and refuses to come down that there are problems in his life and the kids like seem like they like him at first because he's fun, but like they're gonna get stuck up there kind of thing. I don't know. You
Like
need
a
to do
Charlie and
something
the
like that.
Chocolate Factory kind of thing, right? Like a
Well, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, that's obviously an inspiration. That's one of the many inspirations that Wonka movie takes from this.
yeah. That's almost what you want, right? It's like it's fun to float and be lighter than air and everything, but like eventually you've got to come back down to earth because like this is dangerous, right? You don't want to fly too close to the sun or
Get
whatever,
stuck
right? Yeah, get
there
stuck
or
up
whatever.
there.
Or you want it to be something like, I mean, that they kind of they imply this, but I think they could have put a finer point on it as a lesson for the kids. Like they sort of imply that he doesn't like to come back down because he's lonely or sad, and so he like sort of tries to
Yeah.
live like that all the time. And so when they leave, they're like, "Hey, Dick Van Dyke, will you stay with him and sit with him to make sure he, I don't know, that he doesn't kill himself or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?" And he's like, "Sure, I'll hang out with him."
I'll hang out with him. Yeah, misery loves company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell a few more bad jokes, and we'll be out of here
Some of
by.
the jokes weren't very funny, but a couple of them I liked.
The
I
the
remember.
last one I thought was actually kind of funny, right? It's like
I
there's
think
nothing
so. I
like a
think it's
good joke. He goes, yeah, and that was nothing like a good joke. Like
yeah.
like yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
good.
that's good.
There was
Yeah,
some
some fun wordplay in there. A lot of them are just dad jokes, so
Oh yeah.
that's fine. I can deal with a good dad joke every now and then. Yeah, no
I know a
worries.
man with a wooden with a wooden leg named Smith. Oh yeah, what's the name of his other leg? Ha ha
Ha ha
ha.
ha. Ha 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 ha
That's
ha.
not that
You
one's
got it.
not especially funny.
That's the one that comes back 3 times in the
Yeah,
yeah
I know it's not the greatest choice, I think. Let's
yeah
see. Oh, there's another one as well. Let's see. Do, 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 do. The other day when it was cold, a friend bought long underwear. The shopkeeper said, "How long do you want it?" And he said, "From September to March." Ah, ha, 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 ha. Like,
Oh fuck! I'm floating, Jamie. Quick, stop it! No.
okay, okay. Yesterday, when my neighbor answered the bell, a man was there. The man said, "I'm terribly sorry. I just ran over your cat." "Oh, that's
Oh,
sad, the poor cat." Then he said, "I'll replace your cat." And she said, "Okay, but can you catch mice?"
yeah, that one was better. I like that one. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like that one's a little better. That one's got a little bit more,
Well, that's fine with me. But how are you at catching mice?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get a few Rodney Dangerfield in here. You
I
heard
get
that?
no respect.
I get no. Have you heard the like the woke Rodney Dangerfield one? The guy who does that woke Rodney Dangerfield impression.
I feel like I have heard that, but I
It's
don't
like one
remember.
of my favorite ones that he does. It's just like I get no. I tell you, I get no respect. I tried coming out as non-binary, but all the girls still think I'm a 0 or a 1. I thought that was a pretty good one. I like that joke. All the girls still think I'm a 1 or a 0.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Um, yeah, so I guess we learned that like laughing is fun. You just can't do it all the time. And it's like, okay.
All right, sure, yeah. Not sure that was their problem, but okay. Yeah, they were.
It certainly wasn't their problem. That's the thing with the chalk drawings one. If you want it to be that like either you go the route of they're like so rambunctious that they need to learn to like have some more discipline, but they need to be told to do it in a fun way. You go that route, or it's like they're so emotionally stunted by their very strict father that like they need to learn to actually have some fun. And you go the like, oh well, we can't have any fun, it's raining. It's like, ah, but with imagination you can go into your chalk drawings, whatever, something like that, or it's like they need to learn to use their imagination more, but it doesn't seem like they struggle with that before the chalk drawings, so it just seems
Well,
like
yeah, and
a
like she's actively
nothing.
telling them that you're talking too much about the chalk
You sound
drawings.
insane, man.
Like you got to stop talking about these chalk drawings. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like she made a mistake, like a miscalculation. And I mean, I guess it isn't really her that does it. It's Bert that encourages them. But it's basically she's like, "This is the exact opposite of why I'm here. Okay, like you gotta shut the fuck up. I will be fired. All right,
Bert, you son of a bitch.
you
um Okay,
you
so
are a
after the
man."
laughing sequence,
Is
uh,
after the laughing sequence is when the father kind of has a meltdown about how whimsical and like they're getting. They're too happy when they come
yeah,
in the morning. Um, and so he's like, "Ah, this is bullshit. I'm gonna give Mary Poppins a nice stern talking to, and fire her ass, right?" And so she comes in, and basically, kind of turns it around. She's like, "Yes, yes, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that they do need discipline, and they do need to see how the English bank works. So I think that's a great idea that tomorrow you're gonna take them into the office." Uh,
yeah, they'll learn how to be smart and practical like you, right? So you'll take him into the office, and then he's like a little bamboozled because she turned it around on him. He doesn't
yeah,
quite understand how,
yeah,
and he walks away kind of having the idea incepted into his head where he thinks it was his idea. Yeah, like that's kind of fun.
yeah.
Um, so he takes them into work,
Oh, well,
and things.
first she
Oh, right,
reminds them,
right,
right? Like,
right,
because
right,
this
right,
is
right.
like you could probably call this scene.
This is our attempt to make the story like a Christmas Carol a little bit,
Yeah, it's
kind
it's
of.
almost like its attempt at the moral heart of the story, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're trying. They're
yeah.
trying to make this the moral heart.
Because like the kids are all excited about seeing the sights when they go into work with their dad, right? They're like, "Ooh, we're gonna see everything," and she's like, "Well, he goes into work, but that doesn't mean he sees, right?" Like, there's a woman at the chapel or at the cathedral who feeds the birds for tuppence a bag, right? Or you can feed the birds for tuppence a bag of crumbs, and really connect with the world, right? And like if you're not looking beyond your own nose, you'll miss the small beautiful things like a woman who cares so much about the little creatures that she sits there all day and helps feed them, right?
Yeah,
um that's
and
what it's
she's
trying.
yeah, and she's presented a little bit kind of like a holy fool type
Yeah,
character. We don't get enough of her, I don't think, if we want to make this the heart of the story. Like she's introduced for the first time here, and then we see her once, and then she's gone essentially. So it's like, okay, she needs to be a regular part of this if she's gonna be the heart of the story. But that's what they're going
We need a
for. You're
more
right.
Home Alone type like relationship with this
Yeah.
woman. Like that I think needs to be in a bit more here because it is yeah, like I think really to call it the moral heart, right? It's literally they've put her at the base of a cathedral, right? Like they are giving her
And
the
there's a nice line in the song. Hold on. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the lyrics to the song because I think the song in isolation, or like if it were surrounded by a movie that treated this theme better, would be really, really nice. Because they sort of like go into like a little snow globe, right? Isn't
yes,
that sort of yeah? So okay, so there's a line of okay. The little old bird woman comes in her own special way to the people she calls. Come buy my bags full of crumbs. Come feed the little birds. Show them you care, and you'll be glad if you do. The young ones are hungry. Their nests are so bare. All it takes is tuppence from you. Feed the birds tuppence a bag. Tuppence, tuppence, tuppence a bag. But then like she's at the foot of the cathedral, right? And the lyric says something all around the cathedral, the saints and apostles look down as she sells her wares. Although you can't see it, you know they are smiling each time someone shows that he
that he
cares.
cares. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, I like that. And I like it's a really nice song too, right? It's a nice little sequence. Um, but what do we do with it, Hugh?
We cause a
A run
potential
on the bank.
yeah, we cause a potential market crash.
So, okay, so the youngest one, whose name is
Michael.
Michael, he's got his little allowance or whatever. He's got like a couple tuppence that he when they're on their way to the bank to follow their dad to work, he's like, I want to give my tuppence to the lady who uses it to feed, crumbs to the birds.
Yeah.
And his dad's like, are you retarded? Don't do that. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
what the
show you what you can do with your tuppence
yeah,
instead. It'll be much better.
he's literally a financial advisor and he's just like, "You want to do fucking what with this money? Are you kidding me? We have bread. We could have brought it from home if you wanted to feed these birds."
Yes. Like that, you just be throwing your money away. Come on, I'll show you what you can do with your money. They go into the bank and they get a pretty fun song, honestly, where the members of the bank are making the case for what they're making the case for the bank and what it does for the country and the economy and whatever and all that stuff. And it's a good
Yeah.
song,
Dick
and
Van
it's not
Dyke
like
playing a dual role. Like he shows up as a crotchety, like rickety old man, and he's doing a great job. Honestly,
oh,
like
he's
I
doing great.
fucking love that. I was like, oh shit, I forgot he's doing that. He's doing great.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got
a fun little thing because at the very very end of the movie, there are opening credits to this movie, but there's a couple credits at the end as well. And the very last thing that appears on screen before the movie ends is a credit where it says like who plays the old man, the banker, and the text is like a fake name that like de-scrambles to say Dick Van
oh, that's
Dyke.
fun.
It's like which like whoa, what? I didn't know that was Dick Van Dyke. I mean,
It's pretty clear.
I did, obviously, but it's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny little thing to throw in at the end there. It's cute. Anyway, yeah, he does a little dual role thing, and he's very funny and fun as the head of the bank, who's like on the verge of falling over constantly.
Yes.
He's got his little cane and everything.
It's a
It's
great
fun.
physical gag. I do love that, and everybody kind of like rushes around to hold him up. It's a feat of athleticism for him to be doing it, and I think it's really cool. I like watching that. It's a good little song. Georgius Rex points out, right? Railways through Africa, dams along the Nile, investment makes your tuppence work. And they're talking about how exciting it is to invest in the future of the British Empire. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
It's a
fun.
compelling case. I'm into it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell me more about this. Now, granted, in 4 years, that tuppence ain't gonna be going towards any of that shit. It's gonna be going towards bullets and tinned corned beef to send to the Western Front.
Listen,
But
we don't know that
yeah,
yet.
they don't know that. They're an optimistic bunch right now. This is maybe the last time the Brits were an optimistic about anything, really. So like yeah, I like it, but Michael, as we learned from the tape measure early, He's very stubborn, and he does not want to invest his tuppence in any of that shit. He wants to go feed the birds because Mary Poppins told him that's what good people do. And he, like, we Dick Van Dyke's older character, as he's singing and sort of lulling Michael into a false sense of security, is watching him as his iron grip on his tuppence slowly loosens, and then he just reaches in and yoinks it away from him. He's like, "All right, welcome to the team, buddy," and like just steals the 2 cents, right? Like he's a money grubbing, he's a money grubber. Um,
Hmm.
could be played by one of the goblins from Harry Potter. If J.K.
If
J.K.
J.K. Rowling
Rowling's
was writing it, yes.
critics are to be believed. But so then the kid is like, wait, the fuck you did, and he grabs, he starts a fight with the old man over the 2 cents, and then everybody else at the bank, hears essentially misinterprets this as like the bank is not going to give somebody their money, who wants to withdraw it, because the bank is in dire financial straits. And so everybody starts trying to withdraw their money from all of their, like, they're selling all their
Yeah,
stocks and
before it's
bonds.
too late. And so now
And
there's a
so
run on
now
the
there's a
bank.
fucking, now we have the predecessor to the Great Depression, all because Mary Poppins told this kid to feed the birds. Um,
It's yeah, so there's a couple things with this. Like, there's an idea here, but the execution is a little, I don't know, naive to say the very least, in a very sort of like kind of annoying sort of way. Because it's like, do they not just have like crumbs already of the bread they have at home that they could feed the birds with? Like, I don't know. I just like, obviously they tip it over into like the cartoonish territory because he's literally trying to steal the money from the child,
yeah.
you know. And it is a fun gag
Yeah.
that this little thing results in a run on the bank. But I don't know that the movie is really all that successful in trying to make a point about any of this.
Yeah. And like, it's weird because it is going to get the father fired for bringing his child to the loop. And it's like, I mean, of course, we know this is unjustified, right? Because it is really the old man's fault for trying to steal 2 cents from a child, obviously. Um,
Obviously.
which, like I get what it's getting, what it's trying to go for here, right? Like, obviously, we've got the idea that, he's so obsessed with investment that even 2 cents he can't let it go,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And I like that. But like, I don't know, it's just such a crazy turn for this, that like,
Yeah.
yeah, that I'm just kind
Like,
of like,
oh, this is
oh
what the movie's about now?
yeah,
Okay.
okay, like that's a lot. We've really gone the, and so they run out of the bank, and now they're lost in London's city streets. The father is too busy trying to save his own job, or like save face, that he doesn't really notice where his kids run off to. Um, and then we're gonna get chimney sweep stuff, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
and then by
What
the
are
end
we
of it,
doing?
like, what are we doing? We're gonna get chimney sweep stuff for a long while, and then the resolution,
Eventually,
if
the
yeah,
resolution is that the bankers are, like, going to fire their dad for causing this run on the bank. They invite them to their shadowy cabal, the meeting room, which, first of all, I love the
okay,
way
yeah.
it looks.
Again, David Lynch clearly loves this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks really cool. It is a shadowy cabal, which is pretty funny. Um, and so,
What
like,
did
he
what
arrives
did Walt Disney
expecting
mean by this?
he arrives expecting to be fired, and he basically is gonna be fired because 'cause they're like, like, "We can't. I'm sorry, you've been a great asset to the bank, but we can't have you." Like, the Bank of England falls, and all the other things that they're saying. And so he's about to be fired, and he doesn't really know what to say, and so he says supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and that instantly turns him into a man of whimsy for reasons that I don't quite understand. But he's so, like, overwhelmed with the stress of losing his job, because what he fears most in the world, that he just sort of, like,
Cracks.
goes
like
into
like actually
hysterics.
cracks.
He actually cracks a little bit, but he's just like, you know what, fuck it, I'll find a way, like we're gonna make it work. I'm gonna go be a good dad, and so he leaves, and before he does, he tells a silly joke that Dick Van Dyke
He
doesn't.
tells the Smith joke, the one wooden leg
Yes,
named Smith joke.
which Dick Van Dyke does not get at first, and then at the very end of the scene, he like understands what the joke is, and he starts levitating because it's like the first time he's laughed in like 50 years, and so he immediately starts floating, and they're like trying to get
They
him
all
down.
freak
Like
out.
that,
We're gonna find out, by the way, by the end of this movie that killed him.
yes,
Like,
but it's fine because that's the happiest he's been in
yeah,
years.
he
So,
died the happiest he's ever been. So you can have your job back.
yes, oh yeah, and so basically, you made him happy, so now you get your job back, and you've learned to be a more whimsical guy. You're whimsy pilled now, and so you're gonna go fly a kite with your children and be a guy who works at the bank. We did it. It's like I
Okay.
don't know if we can really do the whole Kyle from South Park. You know what? I learned something today in this movie. I just don't know if we can do that.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't know. I just don't think this is well realized at all as a
Yeah.
theme.
So
It feels like
Georgius Rex is pointing out
obligatory.
that he has had a heart to heart with Bert after this point, and Michael has come down and basically been like, "We're sorry. We didn't know that that my 2 cents was going to cause the worst economic crisis in the country's in this bank's 50-year history and almost wipe out everybody's investments and savings and put people on the breadline. You can have them." Like it's fine, and he kind of
Yeah.
has this moment. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and then it's like, oh, okay, yeah,
And there is the scene where he goes before he goes to the bank to have that final confrontation with them. He goes first to the cathedral looking for the woman so he can use that, is it Fuppins? Is that how you say it? Like he's going to give the pennies.
the pennies, yeah,
Tuppence, that's the word. He's going to give the tuppence to the bird lady, but bird lady isn't there, so he doesn't get the chance to. And then he just goes to the bank. So it's like, hmm, like I feel like with a few rewrites, we could turn this into something more meaningful.
yeah.
You know?
It like I can see all the parts, all the moving
Hmm.
parts that are in its favor,
Yeah.
but
Okay, so like for example, if he had some sense to spare and he wanted to give it to the birds and his dad was like trying to like teach him like no, to be responsible and like active and invest the money and like trying to teach him the genuine sort of like advantages of doing that and the merits and the virtues of doing that. But he's sort of like if he learns to like find a balance, because ultimately we will find a balance. He goes back to working at the bank, so it's not like the movie is anti-banker really, and it's not like he gives all his money away to the poor at the end either. So like we're going to find a balance between being more involved and whimsical and joyful and youthful with the children and playful and all that sort of stuff. And also, we're going to be responsible too. And we're going to find the best of both worlds. It's sort of like what we ought to be doing here. And it's like on the surface, it's kind of what we do. So if like he convinces him somehow to like give some of the money for the birds, like okay, we are going to invest your money into these productive things, but also we're going to have like what little we have over the margin we're going to just give to the lady who's feeding birds. Like there's always room for that sort of thing. Like we can't make our entire economy giving money to bird ladies, but like it's good to like
yeah,
have the margins for that sort of thing, for like the little things, for charity, for whimsy, for joy, all that sort of stuff, right?
yeah.
Like we could have done something like that, but we don't really.
No, instead it's back to flying kites by the end, right? Like that's where the real moral turn for him is like, oh, I'm gonna fly a kite with my kids because I'm gonna be a good dad, right? Which has like
Yes.
again, like it
Oh,
set up at the
I
beginning,
forgot to
paid off at
mention
the
it.
end.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the other movie that is very, very much inspired by like this in a way is like Elf a little bit in the message and themes
Yes,
of Elf. And so like in Elf, it's like, he's working for the book company, whatever, and he's got a very, very demanding boss that's like, fuck Christmas, you messed up, so you need to pitch me this book on Christmas Eve. I don't give a shit about your family. And he's like, look, like this can wait. And he's like, if you leave, you're fired. And he's like, fuck it, I'm choosing my kids over the business. And like ultimately he like isn't ultimately fired, or like that's, he's gonna find
Yeah.
a way either way, but it's like he chooses his family over his like demanding businessman who wants him to value the business over his family. Like that works a bit more successfully. And if like
Yeah.
that was more the conflict here, like obviously business is important, but it's not more important than your family. And if like that's what he learns, cool. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm with you on that one. I think that that makes that track, like the elf storyline tracks exactly to, like, it's a more successful version of what we want Mr. Banks to go through here, right? Like that's essentially, I'm
Yeah.
100% in agreement with that. I think that that's what we're looking to do. And the fact that like what he goes in, and his whimsy pill is basically just to sort of like crack a little bit and start saying random nonsense words and and tell jokes, right?
Yeah.
Rather than be like, actually, like it's like, what, I think that makes sense. I maybe I don't want to be here anyway, right? Like maybe I want to go
Yeah.
choose time with my kids. I've been spending too much time here, all that. And then he goes home, they go out to fly the kite. I like the idea that he's like, okay, I've been trying to hold on to this routine and this discipline and this like order because I perceive it as giving me what I want, right? That's his opening song. It's like, the reason I have everything that I love and that I want is because I cling to this very strict rules based order, right? And by the end, he ends up saying, like, what, maybe if I loosen my grip on that, I'll get more out of it,
What I
right?
want. Yeah.
More out of it than I anticipated. And I think that is working, right? Because by the end, he's like, oh, I'm gonna fly the kite. We're gonna let things go up in the air and just let it,
Yes.
like we're
Yes.
like basically being free. We're gonna let it go, right? And then he gets his job back, but it's a promotion, right? Like the promotion
Yeah.
is, oh well, that left space for a partner, so now
Hmm.
you're back, in and you're moving up, right? So that
Yeah.
that is working for me. If he's a like I if it's a little bit more direct and a little bit less like he's just kind of snapped, like
Yeah.
because
One of the things I do like about like that final scene in Elf, like when he's deciding whether he's going to be the workaholic guy or whether he's going to say like I'm sorry, but family on Christmas takes precedence.
yeah,
Sorry, is when his boss, who I don't know his name, but he's like always like the president or something in like Roland Emmerich movies. That guy, he's like get out of here, kid. I'm trying to have a meeting, and he's like, listen, don't talk to my kid like that. You know what I mean? He like
yeah,
stands up for him, and like that's a nice moment. If it was something like this where the head of the bank is like, your stupid son tried like almost ruined the economy, and he was just like, maybe like, it was kind of a silly frivolous thing to want to give that money to the birds, but like to be clear, I think you kind of caused that scene by trying to take it from him, and he stood up for his son in that way. It's like, yes, I want him to be invested, not like physically invested, but like invested in what
financially,
we're doing
fiscally, and yeah,
here.
literally fiscally invested in what in the future of the British Empire. That's
Yeah, and I
literally
want
the
him to
reason
learn
I
about the
hunted
the
for a
merits.
drill sergeant nanny. Like, yeah,
Yeah, like I don't want him to give away his money to the bird lady any more than you do, but like let's not pretend like he caused that scene. You
yeah,
did.
like
And
yeah.
like in
So he's not the one who caused that scene over 2 cents. You're the one who literally couldn't fathom letting a child spend 2 cents on feeding some birds one time, right?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then but if in doing that and getting a little whimsy pilled in the process, he inspired a change in the boss, that would be good. That would
Yes.
like that would
But
tie this all
instead, what he
together.
does is he kind of just leans on, like, I mean, and I think it's an attempt by the movie to make like the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious hit, right? Like
Yeah.
it's an attempt to really make that more than just a kind of whimsical, fun little tune, right? Like it's like, oh, it's a message. Like,
Is it
okay,
though?
but is it? Is it though? I'm a little,
But is it
yeah.
really?
Is it? Is it really? Yeah.
And we
So
could, I think with the rewrites that we're talking about, you could still bring that back. Like he makes his case, and in the immediate moment, Dick Van Dyke's old banker guy doesn't like agree with him, and he like refuses to agree, and it's like, well, there's nothing else left to say, but you know, fuck it, essentially,
yeah,
which is
like
what supercalifragilisticexpialidocious equates to. Is like, yeah, fuck it.
fuck it,
In
we
that
ball.
case,
Yeah,
fuck
that's
it, we ball. Fuck it, we're getting goofy with it. Suit yourself. I'm going to go have fun with my kids. But ultimately, that leads to Dick Van Dyke having something of a change of heart, and then he laughs at a joke and dies. We can keep that if you want. It's silly.
yeah, that's fun. I like the suicide joke where like they're all worried because he hasn't come home. He's been out
Yes,
all night, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Well, there's a really good like the cook the maid basically reveals that she's been scoping out places too. She's like, "There's a really great spot just off the bridge. You might want to drag there." Yeah, I've been looking at it myself. I might join him in a few minutes. You never know. One thing goes wrong in this kitchen today, I swear to God. Like,
yeah, yeah.
that's kind of fun. Um, and then he gets promoted, and then Mary Poppins has a little conversation with her umbrella that's shaped like a parrot.
Who
Um,
has not talked at any other point in the movie, and it's just we learn at the very end can talk and is
is
sentient.
sentient, yes, not even just can talk, like is full on sentient and has like is has
Opinions. He's got some
opinions. Yeah.
strong opinions.
It's like you, Mary Poppins. You don't fool me, Mary Poppins. You lying bitch. Rah! You love these kids. Rah! Like,
And she's like, "Oh, shut up now. You
yeah.
shush.
Shush, shush, shush.
Yeah, shut your mouth."
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I will hold you up in a lightning storm faster than you can blink. Like it is, and then she floats
So you
off.
wouldn't do that. It's like you don't even know that I can't control the
Yeah, you
lightning.
don't even know that.
Don't test me. And
Yeah,
so,
so like, and then she floats off. And we get the
well,
Mary Poppins
really
will
quick,
return in Avengers Endgame. Um,
really quick. The last little thing because I think this is important is like ultimately the parrot who has just decided that it talks in as a character is like, look, how rude of them. They didn't even say goodbye. And she is basically like, look, I've done my job. I've brought the family together. They don't need me anymore. Right? And if throughout the movie we'd actually done something with the mom, I would like this more. But regardless,
yes.
like now the father is going to be more invested and whimsy pilled and all that sort of fun stuff. So she's like, you know what? They're having a nice family moment. I can just leave. I don't need to make this about me because it's not about me. Just she's got a little bit of selflessness in her. I like that as a detail. It's like the middle of the movie that just really kind of sags in terms of the story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fun sequences, but it's like, man, with some rewrites, with some tweaks, this could be
They could.
like
Yeah.
actually more powerful. And actually, and we talked about it, but, like those little rewrites, those little changes, like we don't have to change much, really. We could even keep the run on the bank stuff if the conclusion is like, yeah, obviously, the banks are important and what we do here is important, but he's a kid and he just wants to give 2 cents to the birds. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna let you blame the run on the banks on my son, like when you were the one who just couldn't let those 2 cents go. Like, search your feelings, you know it to be true. Like with that simple change it all kind of comes together for me or it goes a long way. There's still sequences like with the floating and the laughing that I'm like, what are we doing here
Yeah.
exactly?
What is Uncle Albert really achieving? Like I, I don't know exactly. There are apparently multiple Mary Poppins books, so I don't know how many adventures she goes on throughout the
It
series.
feels like we've condensed a lot of vignettes
I'm
from
sure
different
we've condensed.
adventures.
Yeah, I'm sure we have. I just wonder if there isn't a stronger one than Uncle Albert that we could have employed somewhere. Like it's fine. I think it's a
Hmm.
cool visual effects opportunity. There's got to be something else in those books that we could bring
Or
in,
yeah,
maybe,
or
right?
just
Like,
give a little couple tweaks to make the message of that more fitting. Give it like, put an actual lesson in there. You know what this has? This movie has a similar problem that The Sword and the Stone has, where it's like ostensibly there are a bunch of little mini adventures where you're supposed to be learning lessons, but the
the
lessons aren't
lessons
really
aren't really
clear.
clear, and like they're not gonna really pay off at the end at
Yeah,
all.
and it just
Yeah,
seems like a fun excuse to like, now you're a fish.
yeah.
Think about what that's like. So anyway, and yeah, basically that's the end of the movie. Then there's a nice little song. The choir comes back, that classic Disney choir. It hasn't completely disappeared yet, and so you always love to hear that. And then she disappears off into the clouds, and then the end credits are like, by the way, that old guy, that was Dick Van Dyke. Bet that
Oh,
blew
no
your
fucking
mind.
way. Yeah, wow, dude. You probably didn't even know. You thought he was 90. You thought that guy was 90. You're
By the
so
way,
dumb.
the old you're so stupid. Um, that old age makeup is good. It's like
Yeah,
it's effective. I like it a lot. Anyway, so that's Mary
yeah,
Poppins in a
that
nutshell. I think it's a fun movie. I want more from it. I
yeah.
want more story.
I feel like
I
I
and
yeah.
and I want more from it in the story department and less of it in the like whimsical musical number stuff. It's a little long. I feel like we could have spent our time fleshing out a better story with better lessons for both kids and adults. I think that the movie would have benefited from that greatly, but it's still fun. There's a lot of great stuff in it. The songs are just incredible,
Yeah,
man. They're
they
so
slap,
good.
dude. They are so good. It's nice to have a good movie musical, right? Like to
Oh yeah.
remember how good they could be.
Yeah, man, they can be so good. Like legitimately, some of the best movies of all time are musicals. Many of the movies we've covered in this arc so far that we are about to compare Mary Poppins to, because it's time to see
It's
where this
time for the tier
fits.
list. Where does this fall? Yes,
Yes.
I've got it's a little bit clunkier than it was before. That's because I just kind of rapidly pulled it back up. I wasn't sure if we were gonna, I have it listed on here, but I wasn't sure if we were gonna want to include it given how little of this movie is animated. It's
We included Song of the South, so we're
we're
including
gonna
this
include
one.
this one,
And we're
right?
going to include Who Framed Roger Rabbit as well when we
We
get to
sure
it.
are. It's right here. Don't
Jamie's
you?
Disney tier list. There it is. It's more of a ranking than a tier list, but we're not going to quibble about it.
That's true. That's true. A tier list might actually. Maybe I should rearrange this into a tier list instead. That could be interesting. Like S tier movies, and then
You
from
know,
that, yeah,
I love a good tier list. I like rankings better because it forces you to be like, okay, so it's like for me, Pinocchio, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, those are all in like S tier for me, but it
yeah.
does force you to think like, okay, but
Which is number one? Yeah.
yes, exactly. So, um, let's see.
Oh, hold on. I'm blocking the chat with this. Let them have their. Let me let them have their screen time. We don't need any of this home on the range chicken little nonsense over here. All right.
Yeah, we don't need to see that right now. Okay.
All
How
right.
does this compare?
So as just as a reminder, currently at the bottom of Jamie's is Sword in the Stone, which is ranked below Fantasia even a little bit, which I did not remember that, but not a
I
great look
didn't
for
remember.
Sword in the Stone.
I did
Um,
not remember that, but I really didn't like that movie that much.
yeah, fair
I
enough, man.
really, yeah, my feelings on it right now, like now that I don't remember anything that happened in it, it's like, oh man, that seems harsh. But, but I know at the time I had good reason to. Not gonna betray myself by changing that. Betray my past self, that is. So,
So
Mary
yeah, now
Poppins.
this is interesting, right? Because we are including it. The closest comparable is Song of the South, right?
It certainly is. Yeah,
Now thematically, is Song
I
of the
like
South
this.
more coherent a little bit than Mary
Yeah,
Poppins? I think
I
so.
I think
Yeah.
it is. But in all the technical,
Yeah, and
you
all the
know,
technical aspects, Mary Poppins is much more
better
exciting. Yeah.
performances, better songs, better visual effects, better, because Song of the South has some fun blending of live action and animation elements, but nothing nearly as sophisticated as this. Obviously, Song of the South was 1946, I believe, so
Yeah.
the technology improved quite a bit. I love a good musical, and I like the songs and I like the performances, but story's king for me. So I am going to put Mary Poppins just below Song of the South.
All right. Rearrange
Um,
these here.
Bambi, I like the animation in Bambi a lot, but Bambi's story is very kind of lackluster for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it just below Song of the South. I just because if that sounds weird to you, I think it's because Song of the South actually has a pretty coherent story. I think there's a lot more to it in terms of the lessons and childhood, you know, themes and messaging for kids and all that sort of stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
will
putting
go.
Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins at number 11. Beneath Song of the South, ahead of Bambi, Fantasia, and Sword in the Stone. Um, that
Yeah,
is an interesting. That is interesting too. That like Mary Poppins. I agree with you. Mary Poppins is very comparable to Sword in the Stone as well, right? Like where a lot of the
yeah, in the themes department.
yeah. All right. Well, let's go up to mine. Um, I'm gonna yeah. Here's the thing: is like, do I like I do like. I think I do like Mary Poppins a bit more than Dumbo. But do I like it story wise more than Dumbo? I don't know. I think I might.
Oh, Dumbo's got a much stronger story.
Yeah, it
But if
does.
that's
It
all you're
really
judging it
does.
on, yeah.
And it's not 2.5 hours long.
Yeah,
That's
it's
another
too
one. Yeah,
long. That's another
it is
problem.
way too
It's
long.
yeah.
Um,
Sleeping Beauty. I'm just going over your list again. Sleeping Beauty, Lady and the Tramp. Ah, yeah, Lady and the Tramp. That's a great movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's so many.
I love Sleeping Beauty. I think that one, like that one is more
We
like what
know.
I want Sword in the Stone to be.
Oh, of
Like
course.
that's what I
Yeah, yeah.
want. And Lady and the Tramp again. Peter Pan is just for the vibes because I like that one. I know I we that was the one we disagreed on
That's
most. I
probably the one
think.
we disagree on the most. I find Peter Pan a little obnoxious, but I think thematically it's strong. It's just I
Yeah.
don't enjoy watching it
Yeah,
really.
I enjoy that a lot, and I would like Pinocchio also great, Snow White also great, Cinderella also like that's that. I enjoy watching Peter Pan a little bit more, like maybe just a little more than Pinocchio. Those two might even be like I could swap them around based on how I'm feeling. Um, Definitely enjoy watching it a little more than I enjoy watching Cinderella. But like, yeah, that's like the main like once it gets down
All
to
those
it, right?
movies in the top like 6 or 7 are like absolute bangers. So it's a little
It's
like
hard, yeah,
splitting hairs. Georges Rex asks, where is it? Well, the story might put it at number 11. That's for me, that is. But what about the production quality and songs? If I'm just thinking about that stuff, then Mary Poppins is quite high.
yeah.
Um,
If
you
I
know,
were if I were to like just based on production quality, based on the artistry and the choreography and the technical aspects and the music and the like the performances and everything, I might put it like up like because it is a fun ride, right? If I was only
oh,
ranking
yeah,
it based on that, I would put it up maybe in like maybe number 5. I think
yeah.
I because I still think
Yeah,
that
for
it's
just
a
thinking
little
for
long.
separating it from the story
Yeah,
entirely. But yeah,
it is a little long for me to put it any higher than that because like again, and that's because the story is just a little it like it's been done better in a bunch of other places, right? Like and I know a lot of them take the inspiration from it, but if like compared to the story in some of these, I think I think it's gonna go to the same spot. It's gonna be number 11
number
for
11.
me. Yeah. It's gonna be number 11 for me, right
Well, then it's
behind.
official. Mary Poppins is number 11.
Yeah, so Mary
We
Poppins is
agree.
number 11. We agree on that. Yeah, it's gonna be right behind Dumbo, because Dumbo's story is a lot stronger. Um, but Mary Poppins is a lot more fun for me. I would enjoy rewatching it. Like if I had 2.5 hours to kill. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think part of it for me is that, like, watching Mary Poppins again, as I did for preparation of this stream, I was like, I got kind of bored with it about halfway through. And by the end, I'm just like, I don't know if I'll rewatch it for quite a while, you
yeah.
know?
I think I'm good, honestly. Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah,
I think
I think that yeah, I think that's pretty much where it needs to
I
be.
think that's fair. I think
Yeah,
I think it's a perfectly pretty good movie.
yeah,
You know,
and I don't fault anybody putting it higher, on your personal vibes list. It's
Sure.
it's a lot of fun. I will not fault you for wanting it, higher up. This is just like if we're going head to head with Disney, some of Disney's A game,
Greatest.
right? Like
Yeah.
this is greatest hits of Disney. I do think Song of the South is like maybe the most underrated movie ever. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so it might actually qualify as the most underrated movie ever because people act like it's like awful.
People act like it's practically Birth of a Nation, but like it
You know what
really
we should
isn't.
do at some point is we
Birth of a
should
Nation.
review Birth of a Nation.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
kidding. We should. I think
It's a little spicy take. That'll be.
you know what? Because I watched it in film school and it is a really impressive movie. But like, and I remember the controversial bits about it, but I don't really remember the story super well. So like, I would be very interested in revisiting Birth of a Nation. I think it could be a lot of fun.
Could be interesting. Birth of a Nation versus Sinners.
Uh-oh.
Oh
See,
lordy.
now we're just courting controversy for no reason. I don't know if that's necessary.
I don't think that's a good idea.
No,
Let's
just
do it though.
optically.
Let's do it. Fuck it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, why not? Like, yeah.
I don't need to talk about Sinners anymore, especially. I'm
Rank it in with the Disney list. Yeah. Oh, oh boy. Yeah, that would be an interesting topic of conversation. Yeah. Um,
I do want to talk about it though.
yeah.
With Triumph of Will double feature. Triumph of Will is not as story driven. It's just, it's a like a military propaganda film. It's good. I like Triumph of the Will. It- and that's one of those things that you often like watch in film school, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if they still do. I don't
I don't
honestly.
remember. I don't remember watching it.
You didn't watch that one?
No.
Oh,
We watched Birth
I
of a
did.
Nation. We never did Triumph of the Will. We,
It's important for a reason. It's a very well made propaganda film. It's very interesting.
yeah, I bet it is. Daily Dose. They. Yeah. Well, I'm honestly a little shocked. I haven't seen it, given the way the civil war of the right side of the political spectrum is going on Twitter. I would expect at least some of it to filter through.
Yeah,
Maybe from the
I
Nick
definitely I
Fuentes side.
definitely think we should review Birth of a
That'd be
Nation at some
interesting.
point.
Yeah, I'd be down to try it. Down to give it a
Spoiler:
watch.
the will does not triumph. No, it doesn't. R.I.P. the will. uh,
Yeah,
anyway,
we can watch the sequel, Schindler's List, as well. direct sequel. I'm fairly
sure.
certain.
So yeah, so that's Mary Poppins. It is
It is
pretty
a
all
pretty
right.
good movie.
There's a lot to like about it. Relatively short stream today because I have to go get cooking. I got a lot of cooking to do before people come over. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Did you want to say anything at all about the Oscars before we leave, or just leave it there?
I don't care. I don't care. 16
That's fine.
nominations for Sinners is an abomination. I like get out of here. Yeah, like I like horror schlock too, but like yeah, I'm a little less impressed. I'm a little less impressed when black people are in movies. I don't know. You've had a long time.
Well, that's one way to put it. That's definitely gonna help with our, racist reputation.
Yeah,
So
definitely
thanks
gonna
for
make
that.
it better, I'm sure.
How much will the Academy suck off Sinners in one battle after another? A lot, I reckon. Yeah, I don't really know which of them is going to win Best Picture. It's an either way. It's whoever wins, we lose kind of situation. So who cares? Um,
It's got 16. It doesn't have 16 nominations, so it's like one or two more than the last year record-setting Emilia
yeah,
Perez, which
you know, isn't Amelia Perez like one of the biggest losers at the Oscars of all time?
yeah, because it
Like
lost all of them,
nomination.
didn't it? Like, didn't it?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
didn't win a single award. It was nominated for 14 of like it was nominated for as many as Titanic, or like maybe one more than Titanic, two more than Return of the King. And
yeah.
then along comes Sinners next year, setting the record. Like it I don't know. It's I
It's
don't
very
like.
silly.
It's a very silly thing. I don't.
I I did not bother watching all the Best Picture nominations this year, so take this with a grain of salt. But for me, it's probably sentimental value. I think of the nominations, I like that one the best. It's a good movie, worth the recommendation. Check it out.
A
Stellan
good movie
Skarsgård.
and worth watching.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't, but
Oh, well, it's good.
I was doing a seven thing.
I see. I see. Anyway, that's all there is to say about the Oscars. Don't watch it. Just if you want, look up who won the next day. That's my recommendation.
Yeah, I don't care. Watch Chronicles of Riddick. You'll get to see.
Yeah.
Watch Chronicles of Riddick if you want to see the good guy win. And that's that. and that's my thoughts on the
And that's
Oscar.
it. Okay.
All right.
Well, goodbye, friends. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and God bless you and keep you. And we'll see you next time for whatever we talk about next week. I don't know what it is yet, but you'll know when we know. So thanks for joining us. Thank you for the super chats and all that sort of fun stuff. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Goodbye.